So, where are we going to play? Well, it's a best of 3, but we have the same map pool, so we're going to go through the bans and the picks right now.
First off, it's going to go Bank, Luminosity banning that.
And then Consula's gone by SSG, so we will get Border for our first map, picked by LG, and Kafe for our second.
And then Coastline, the next ban, and after that, Villa. And what's left is the Decider Clubhouse. So for those of you not familiar, we go through ban, pick, ban, and then Decider is what's left over. And interesting map choices here coming out from these is all 3 of these maps favor SSG. Just going off of their record between Pro League and the Qualifiers, they have won at least 3 times on all of these maps and no losses.
Yeah, I seem to remember we were having a conversation about hoping for Luminosity's sake that they don't end up with at least some of these maps that we ended up getting. But I guess we're going to be going to all of them, Border, Kafe, and Club.
To be fair, 3 wins, though, means they showed their winning strategy for all 3 maps.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if we go to all 3 maps...
That's true. That's assuming we make it that far.
What do you think? How far are we going to get?
I gotta wonder how many. I was wondering how many fans Luminosity's managed to pick up, and that's quite a few, because SSG usually pulls in quite a bit of percentage. So a lot of people starting to become believers that LG can manage to make this work. Not to mention LG, of course, knocked out SSG pretty early in this tournament, down to the lower bracket, so...
Yeah. Well, we'll jump into it and see who's going to be the victor on the first map, Border. Now, you may have noticed there was no, of course, no draw there in the community about this, because you can't draw. It's best of 3. Yep. Winner must be decided. And, you know, a lot of people have been talking about how TSM have been doing so well with these best of 3s. And it's been discussed that they are a team that seem to be the one to beat in this qualifier, and they certainly are, as whoever wins this match goes on to play them in the grand finals.
I mean, I guess it shows a little bit in that they've lost half of their first maps in the 4 matches they've played in the qualifiers.
It seems like TSM, they lose their first, then they go on to win the next 2. That seems how they manage to do it every time. But in the case of Luminosity and Space Station, they're no slouches either. We'll start with the bans.
Interesting ban here, because Capitao is one that usually Space Station would ban. At least during Pro League, when they're one of their matches on Border, they ban Capitao, but LG's going to take care of that because Nomad's going. Nomad, as we've talked about before, always very strong on this map. Capitao as well for half wall especially. Mira going is no surprise. And I got to imagine Echo's going to be next, very likely.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be an Echo. There it is. Or it'll be a Maestro.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, but
pretty much.
They didn't sweat that one. They just went for it.
Yeah, they didn't. Definitely no delay there. You didn't ban Echo? Okay, we'll take care of that for you.
Done deal, and that means that we get to go in. We know what our bans are. Nomad, Capitao, Echo, and Mira. So the Nomad ban is going to be specifically for freeing up aggression, rotations, and flanks. That was, of course, done by Space Station.
That does benefit Luminosity, the way they play as well, though.
I mean, in a way, it could benefit both teams. Depends on what they decide to bring out, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe Space Station are going to try and match fire with fire. We'll see. Speaking of fire, Capitao also banned. That's going to be much the opposite effect, as it will allow you to play more passive and safe behind cover as a defender.
True.
So very counterbans to each other. Echo and Mira, there's nothing really to talk about there.
Interesting, the 6th pick from the Ash to the Buck. That is going to be so they could potentially surprise what they think is most likely going to be Armory, but it's actually going to be Vents, although Buck's still going to be very useful on Vents attack from above, so that works either way. No big loss there.
I mean, Buck is one of those operators that very often does get banned on Border because he is just so good here.
Yeah.
But not the case in this match, and probably see Thomas bringing him quite a lot throughout
Obviously,
this match.
If you do ban him, you still got Sledge as a backup to an extent, and Zofia, depending on how you play it. So.
Yeah, just not from below.
Yeah.
You know, except for the nades. That's the only real thing. But at that point, you can also bring Ash, Zofia, like you said, or Jackal even with the sidearm shotgun.
Gridlock
below.
even now.
Yeah, Gridlock even. You got options.
Yeah. So Buck ban's not as strong as they used to be.
Well, I mean, it's I guess, in a way. Now, Space Station setting themselves up for, clearly, a very all-over-the-place defense in that they are going to be roaming all the darn places. You've even reinforced Jail. So, I mean, that's pretty standard fare here on Ventilation. And it looks like they want to hold it as they've set it up for impact tricking. That's the interesting part. We've seen Jail reinforced many times, usually just expend some utility from the attackers, but impact tricking it? I mean, that doesn't happen too terribly often, I suppose. It is outside of the norm.
Yeah, I would almost like to see, since they have the buck, them go for that idea where you try and open up some of the soft wall and stick the thermite breeze charge inside it to see if you can avoid it getting impact tricked, but that does take a little bit of setup time that I got to imagine they're going to want to get in early here and take this top floor first and not worry too much about jail until they come to that point.
We'll see. It looks like they also want to impact trick the customs drop down. No, I'm not entirely sure. They set up for either impacts or C4 from below. Rampy's close enough to make that happen, but they got to be quick on it. Security's already in full control for Luminosity, and they're pressuring that armory wall. EMP's coming out. Hyena goes for the exothermic, and he's going to likely get it. No denial in place. Lots of nades and EMPs being used here by Luminosity, but they get the job done. The wall open, and now they have the ability to push into the armory site.
That's a lot of utility expended to get that open as opposed to just pushing from office like we see some teams do. So it's hopefully they've managed their resources in terms of having enough left after that to be able to do what they need to do, because no kills came out of it yet.
Yeah, yet keyword, and there we go. That's going to change. Thinking Nade takes down Hyena on the balcony. But Hyena's already done his job as the Thermite, so that's not going to be a terrible loss for Luminosity. Just one gun off the board, and considering how lit Thinking Nade is, it's not the worst thing in the world. He'll in fact be finished off by a lifeline from Rexon, and then a rush into the top floor. Now, LG does have to push downstairs, but they have done a great job of getting control upstairs. Now they can start using that to their advantage with the buck.
I like the efficiency of that sandwich rotate as well, to be able to start opening up the B site just to put pressure on it now. It's just a smart way to play it so you don't have to rotate all the way around, because they used all of their manpower upstairs, and just the ability to play as many people as possible, get the job done, then rotate quickly. I like that. They just only have 40 seconds left though, so efficiency is key here.
They've done a decent job of it so far. I gotta hand it to Luminosity. They aren't wasting time. The gas canisters, though, are going to be a really big problem for them. There's only one left here for Fultz, but he's only got a delay for 25 seconds, so that might just be adequate. Thomas looking for an angle, but he's not able to find the culprit person who fired those bullets off earlier. Luminosity is just rearing for the rush, but this is not going to be an easy one. Pixel goes for the plant. Fultz there. Takes down Doodle. Another for Fultz, and there goes the planter. He's just retaken site solo. He didn't even need assistance on that one. Chala gets the dropper, and it's just Rexon on the front door. There's no time. Round over, SSG.
Well, efficiency or not, too many players lost too often. First, you had the Thermite drop upstairs. They lost a little bit of manpower. Did at least trade that one back. But Fultz getting the two-piece downstairs, that really changed things around, because lack of time means you need manpower advantage more often than not to be able to continue to pressure there. As we used to see in the old Vitality takes, they often had man advantage, and that's the only reason they were able to get away with a lot of those. But that was definitely not the play there. And just trying to sneak into the B site while you're pressing from above is a nice idea. But once you lose that, you see what happens there. You're just kind of walking into Fultz at that point.
Or Fultz walks into you, as was the case at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And we saw an even exchange of that. A lot of that shotgun SMG combination on the SAS Defender up inside of vents, just waiting patiently for the opponent. And with only 15 seconds left, that's all you need to do if you beat Fultz. And yeah, SSG set up really well for that. I'd say they weren't perfect on the rotation off the top floor, but I'm guessing they weren't expecting that level of aggression from LG.
No.
And Luminosity were upstairs pretty quick, and they were really ruthless on their take, but they just couldn't translate that into a site take. However, they get to change their attack strategy somewhat here, as it's going to be Armory defended next from Space Station.
Yeah, we saw how efficiently they were trying to take this Armory wall on that previous round. Obviously not going to be the same level of efficiency, I imagine, when they've got to deal with all five upstairs here. But the interesting part, too, is they went for the buck as a sixth pick, but this time it was coming out from Doodle, so they could leave Thomas on the Ash. So instead of taking the IQ, of course, there's no Echo they have to deal with, so the IQ not as mandatory. But they are still going to want to have some idea where those Maestro Evil Eyes will be, and they have Pixel on the Thatcher to help deal with those. But that's where you start running into problems, is trying to find angles sometimes to be able to finish those off.
Luminosity looks to be setting up her standard take here into CCTV so far. They're pushing one over to the front door. That's Rexon, probably to deny the bandit tricking from below. Do have Thinking Nade on bandit. That'll be probably the right call. He's wary of a run out, it seems. And there is nobody in a position to run out there, but he just wants to be sure. Better safe than sorry. Bosco could, in theory, rotate over.
definitely something that they could take advantage of if they catch a lot of people on Repel, for example.
And CCTV control is well in hand here for Luminosity, so they're probably going to start coming off the balcony, and that opportunity might pass soon here, especially as the armory wall has opened up now. And the lack of a Nomad, as banned by Spacestation, is going to allow for flanks in this situation if nobody's watching. But because Luminosity have 5 men alive, that's unlikely to happen.
They definitely could have gone with the gridlock instead, though, if they really felt like that was a necessary thing.
Yeah.
Because it was a ban by SSG on the Nomad, so I got to imagine, you know, they do want that freedom of rotation.
It could also just be a preference ban. And we do know that a lot of people hate to play against Nomad just on a fundamental level, and maybe it's just something you don't want to deal with. It's understandable.
True, because the tracks at least you can see, and you don't have to deal with the same way that you do an air jab. So, yeah, I can completely understand the preference.
Well, droning out underneath. Luminosity not able to find anything just yet. There are 2 roamers downstairs here, as you can see, Thinking Nate and Bosco on a duo by ventilation. Doodle's got to be careful here. If he plays his cards correctly, though, he could pick up 2 kills. Well, looks like he's actually just going to give up on the hunt, though, entirely. That's curious, because if Thinking Nate has a C4, then it's 2 C4s below, because Bosco almost certainly does.
He almost died, though.
Yeah, look at that. Lit up by somebody. I'm guessing someone on the armory wall through one of the pre-placed holes that Bosco himself made earlier in the round. But he still has a C4. He's still alive, and he's still just awaiting. Chala gets Doodle, and it's going to be the start of the gas canisters here from Fultz as well. Space Station beginning their barrage to hold out against Luminosity's assault.
Pressure from the office is just not working here at the moment. They're getting delayed.
Yeah, there's very little coming from the flank from Luminosity, and here comes the rush. Will it work? It looks like no so far, but a TK from Rampy opens things up. Downstairs, SSG very much alive, and Hyena in sight with control, but the last alive, and he's gonna drop.
He didn't need to rotate with him, but that sure was fun to watch.
Okay, well, to be fair to Hyena, it's unlikely he would have been able to win that. The plant is 7 seconds in Pro League, of course. For those of you who play ranked, used to much less time. Maybe in that scenario, who could have gotten the plant, but it's unlikely it would have happened here, especially with 2 C4s from below. He could have gotten onto a desk to give himself more coverage. However, the rotate would have come out eventually from SSG in that round.
Yeah.
Very certainly was SSG's.
Again, time seeming to be working against Luminosity despite some of the efficiency early on, and even efficiency in that round because they were able to take CCTV relatively uncontested. It just seems like they're able to get early setup well, but once they get towards that kind of midpoint to start to set up for an execute, that's where things seem to slow down for them, and just good delaying by SSG, I think, absolutely paying off because yes, they're not technically winning on time, but they're certainly pressuring them into situations where they're having to make plays they wouldn't otherwise make.
That's a fair way to put it, yeah. I do think that Luminosity are having trouble getting picks, making things happen. That is probably why we're seeing the Lion being brought out here. They likely want to try and lock down Space Station as best as possible because LG have just not, I mean, they haven't been very lethal in the wind-up to the site take.
Yeah.
Which is understandable with the way that SSG has been playing. SSG has been exceptionally passive and very good at falling back when they're feeling too pressured, but at the same time holding all of the key points, the relevant factors such as the armory wall when defending armory. They didn't give up on it, ever. Yeah. They had either C4s from below, gas canisters from the side, or just barrels pointed in the right direction in that last round.
This is where I feel like their ban of Capital kind of works against them because that is something that they can use to start to open things up and catch people in areas where they can't, you know, get an easy pick on them.
It's a really good point, yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's unfortunate that that works against them. Obviously, they don't want to deal with it as well, though, so that is a fair ban. A lot of people don't want to deal with Capital right now.
Yeah, once we get to the second half, I'm sure Luminosity will be very happy that they banned out the Capital. I
gotta wonder, though, they don't always play a very passive defense the way that we're seeing from SSG. Here's that attempted tricking potentially coming out here, but they're going to be able to get it open.
Yeah, see, the exothermic charge was placed crouch level at a place of the wall where it was, well, the wall wasn't broken. So that impact had very little chance of actually landing on the exo. That's a really good job there from Luminosity and Hyena specifically to gauge that. There are other ways, of course, to get past the impact tricking. He could have opened the wall with the buck earlier, but you know, if you have an opportunity, why make it more complicated?
Yeah, just crouch. It's easier.
Yeah.
Press C to win.
Well, Luminosity, having gotten open the jail wall, know they also have to clear out the top floor because that's how you defend customs from above. So they're going to start working on that.
Maybe that's part of their time efficiency problem, too, is they also spend a lot of time early on stacking people up to make sure they succeed in their early objectives.
Oh.
Well, nice C4 by thinking. That's certainly not going to help there. That is the C4 from the Bandit expended, but I imagine they might have some more there, at least from the Valkyrie, so not a huge loss, and a great trade on Doodle. He might have actually still had grenades in his pocket as well, so that Lion, unfortunately, not really helping things just yet. As I don't think he's even used one EE1D, but C4 aside, Foltz gets a kill with his gun on Rexen, and that is, again, more utility denied. Too little, too late with the EE1D. And SSG just able to run around as much as they want here at the moment, and Rampy even just going to hold his spot despite being contested by 2 attackers. That is just the success here from SSG, is being able to do what they want. Even the Prisma is actually marking out the attackers at this point. This is working out very well for Rampy, although as I say that, Pixel finally finds him.
Okay, so early pick for Luminosity, but they've lost 2 in that process, and some of their main fraggers, especially in Rexen there. So this is definitely looking very good for SSG. Map number 1 is already shaping up well for the defense, and LG could definitely win this one, but it does not look like it's going to be a comfortable victory. They're going to have to force something pretty amazing to make this happen. The EE1D from Lion comes out here. Tomas is in a position to do some damage to his opponent. He's also going to be able to cover the plant from Hyena, but the flank comes out, and it's a T-Gay from Thomas. Unfortunate. TKs happen. Not much he could have done in that angle. They'll get another one, though. That's 2 there. Looking for more. He's got to find a 4K to win this. Sees the camera, but it's a little bit too late at this point. With 4 seconds left and a Legion Trap still in his foot, he is going to have to plan. Yeah. But at that point, he probably should have just stopped and saved the KD.
Yeah, at that point, there was, again, another round where there was not much they could do on time. Although, the TK certainly didn't help with that. And it's an impressive amount of TKs for how early we are in this best of 3 already. And I got to chalk some of that up to nerves from both teams.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of how much is on the line here. And this is the deciding factor. This isn't even the final match for them yet either. If they win this, they've still got one more to go. Yeah,
that's a really big thing to point out. The fact that this is the first match of 2 for both of these teams, potentially. If LG wins, then they play TSM. If SSG wins, then they play TSM. So it's going to be a long night for them.
Yeah. Although we've seen a good amount of plays from the teams that are having to play back-to-back games. Forza, in their case, actually winning their match, but not the same case in the match earlier, which NIP was able to secure, but it still came pretty close. Team won, despite having to play through, their first match, came out swinging. Same with Cyclops earlier, who did also end up winning. So, the incumbents aren't necessarily always at a huge advantage because they're also cooled down. They haven't had a chance to warm up the same way, but at the same time, yeah, if this gets drawn out to 3 maps especially, it gets a little more tiring when you go into that final match. And TSM are going to be ready for whoever comes here. I got to imagine they're watching, of course, trying to prepare for this, and knowing that SSG are playing fairly passive, something they're going to have to watch out for if they end up facing them. At the same time, though, we're not seeing anything come out from LG that specifically is going to counter that passiveness. Yes, they will at least be able to spot some more gadgets with the IQ, but nothing here, says, okay, we can get in and we can do a bunch of damage, but there are only so many operators that can really help with that.
Yeah, and it seems that Luminosity have given up on the Lion.
Yeah.
So, change is already in.
Maybe Dokkaebi would have been a better choice because you at least would have brought the smokes to come with it.
That's possible. Spacestation aren't running the mute, so it would have definitely been a pretty influential operator. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, saying one operator is going to solve the problem, I'm not sure. Right now, it's looking like Luminosity are leaving a lot of gaps in their attack, losing players, especially when they're trying to do multiple things at once. That's the big thing. Yeah. Whenever LG are trying to do multiple things at once, they lose a lot of ground, and they usually lose a player to one of Space Station's roamers.
And see, they're stacking up again like this, yeah.
I mean, fair enough, I guess. They're trying not to take unnecessary risks. They're trying not to spread apart and get picked off.
Then after the first minute, they do.
But yeah, I get it. But exactly what you just said. But they're going to. You know that they're going to split up. And oh, look, they have. Look at that. They
about 30 seconds before a pick comes out from SSG, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll see. It's it's Rexen downstairs. He's going to be contesting Foltz, who's playing smoke down below. And so far, that fight has usually gone to SSG. Nade comes from Thomas, and it's caught by the ADS. That is really poor planning. But there should be no more ADS. Oh, there's still ADSs. And
right,
the final
there we
nade
go.
gets it. There you go, Thomas. Lots of utility use from LG, but they did manage to take half wall, so that's important.
Yeah, that's an important step, and they still are stacked up enough to at least be able to push this. It is still down to those other players that split off by themselves to do their job, though.
But it's 2 minutes delayed upstairs thanks to Thinking Nade's efforts, and it's a ventilation defense, guys. I mean, like, this is good. Good job to LG. Yeah, they've got the man advantage, but we've seen this before, and it was the last time that SSG were defending.
Some of that was Thomas not being able to get any picks from above, and if SSG don't give him any, they just run out of time trying to get those.
Big difference is that Luminosity didn't lose a man early on, like they did last time they were attacking here.
Yeah, they have Hyena still.
So they have the advantage in terms of man count, not in terms of time, though. And Rampy has managed to work his way upstairs.
Oh.
That reload might have given away his position, actually. That might have been a blunder and a half. But it doesn't seem like anyone's watching for him right now. Above, Rexon gets one, and that's Bosco gone. This is now looking very much like a Luminosity round. Only 30 seconds left. Strong man advantage, strong positional advantage, but still so little time. Rampy,
game changer.
Rampy could be exactly that, the game changer. Plant coming out, C4 misses. Oh, that's terrible. Gas canisters not denying the plant. C4 will not land, and there goes Rampy. The above flank fails. The gas canisters fail, and Space Station are failing. They need to get 5 kills between just Chala and Fultz. Make that just Chala, and he'll be eliminated. A flawless round from Luminosity.
So they either lose or don't lose anyone.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
I mean, you got to chuck some of it down to what we were talking about. They lose people early on and then run short on time. That's what it comes down to, right? Is they need that manpower towards the end of the round to make it work. Of course, it didn't help Rampy's failed flank attempt, and I think that could have really shaped up to work. I mean, to be fair, they were going to get the plant down at the same time, so I don't think that would have completely swept the round or anything like that, but losing the manpower upstairs and giving Rampy the ability to play from upstairs if he'd been able to take it back, that definitely could have hurt significantly on that play. But at the end of the day, he failed. He was able to get picked by the Zofia turning around as well. And unfortunate, when you make those plays and you throw it, sticks to the wall, and you're just over, that's, yeah, that and the TKs are a lot of facepalm moments, I imagine, for some of these players.
Now, it's been a really weird match, and I think nerves, as you said earlier, is a good thing to point out here.
Especially for SSG, who worked so hard just to get to the end of the losers bracket.
That's true, yeah. It's been a rough one for Space Station, and they've had to fight a lot to get here. It's been a rough one for LG too. You know, you can't discount that. But no matter what, no matter how you look at this, it's definitely not. It's not gonna be an easy match for either team.
No.
So much on the line. I mean, it's going to one of the biggest events of the year, the second largest event, the event of every year.
Not to mention it's North American hosted, and this is North American players as well, so it's even more pride on the line there.
It is very important, yeah. As an NA team that you go to this event, still have that host country invite, so who knows?
Yeah.
But we don't know how that's going to end out.
Yeah, you cannot count on that for sure. Like with so many possible candidates for that.
I know, right? That's really the crazy thing is you look at the teams that could get the host country invite, and you think to yourself, oh boy.
There's at least 4 I could, I think of, and 3 of them
really
are playing
strong
right now.
contenders. Yeah, exactly. 3 of them are playing right now.
So it's like Rec is the other one I would think of as a possible candidate as well, and they're not even playing right now. So it's like there's a lot to fight for here because only one of these teams becomes a winner today.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole lot on the line. Now, Luminosity have control, CCTV. They can use this to attack under the armory wall, but this hasn't been working out for them. The last time they tried this, it did end up costing them the round. Nade will land on the ceiling, but not underneath his opponent. Rampy does not eat any damage. It was well placed, though. You can see it landed right there next to the A-bomb, it seemed. Yes, I think so. Anyway, Space Station still has some roamers downstairs, and one of them with a C4 at minimal. And it's going to be some denial late in this round.
Bosco 6 picking over to the Valkyrie too is something SSG at least tried to change up this round. So they have a bit more intel, so they can try and get some more of those early picks potentially and roam more freely. Yeah. So far, it hasn't actually worked.
Well, I mean, that's probably why Luminosity are bringing Rexon on the IQ.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of the potential for Valkyrie to influence this round. They have to bring the Zofia for the Maestro Evil Eyes, and that combination is working out pretty well. But oh no, Oh,
this one.
This EMP is not going to get shot.
That's what I meant by the angles.
The evil eye is not going to get shot.
He doesn't even know he got it right because there's no point notifications.
He doesn't see the fact that the evil eye is open because he doesn't see the evil eye.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate for Luminosity. Could cost them the round. Gas canisters going through the wall here, and Hyena will be pushed off of that plant. One of the most typical through-the-wall gas canister spots.
Yeah. 2 left as well, so they definitely need to bait those out soon, and Thinking Nate actually in a prime spot to deny this plant.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to expose himself, and here it comes. There it is, and bye-bye Hyena. And it's going to be a flurry of kills for SSG as they take full control of their site and everywhere else.
What
Luminosity looking like they're going to 4-1. It's going to be Fultz to take out Thomas, but Pixel from behind could get one. Nope. Spoke too soon. Flawless round to answer, flawless round, this time in favor of SSG.
Well, SSG, that play with the C4, that just kicked off a collapse at the point because they were worried about, okay, let's bait in the plant, let's try and push them off with the smoke. But once that kill went down on the planter, they know someone's going to try and recover that diffuser, and that just kicked off a series of actions from LG to try and cover the person trying to recover the diffuser. And that just really baited at least 2 people into a lot of players from SSG, and they completely capitalized on it. Not to mention, as you mentioned, the Evil Eye staying alive. What confuses me is they're doing all this work to take out those Evil Eyes, but then not bringing any smoke to be able to at least cover it. Because what is the counter, of course, to the smoke is the Evil Eyes, and no one's bringing Doc or anything like that to be bringing a bulletproof camera. So it's really the Evil Eyes that are going to see through, and they're just not even really capitalizing on taking out the ones they are necessarily, other than not getting zapped and maybe not getting directly spotted. But the IQ should have known that there was that Evil Eye there. That is, that was Rexon's job to know that that was there, and he did not.
Yeah, that's really fair. It was very much his job. And I think he was, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he playing Zofia earlier? I could have sworn.
Well, they've switched around a little bit as well. Doodle's played some different roles. He's taken Buck. Thomas has taken Buck. Thomas has been on Ash.
It's been movement on Luminosity for sure, role-wise.
I think Pixel and Hyena have been the more consistent players in terms of operator choices so far.
Well, we're going to go to the ventilation workshop for the final site here, I believe. And this time, a little bit of a change on Spacestation. They will be bringing a mute and a pulse.
All right, well, those both are going to bring C4 as well as, I got to imagine, Thinking and Rampy on C4. So it's 4 C4 stacked up. So playing from above is going to be actually just as fatal.
I mean, Bandit might have barbed wire.
He had C4 last round because he was the one to kick off the kill. So unless it changed,
I mean, do they really want 4? I mean, maybe because
they're playing from above.
Yeah,
right?
Luminosity every round have been taking from above, so fair enough. 4 C4s could be really good, but I want to know if this Bandit's bringing C4 or if he decided to
Can we take a look at Bandit real quick? Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
All right. He's playing above though.
Yeah, he'll rotate down when minute 30 to a minute. And then, heavy C4 presence here.
That floor is going to be hot potato.
Oh, yeah. Now, as soon as Luminosity get control of above, they're going to start feeling some pain, especially if the pulse of Bosco is still alive. There is no Valkyrie, so it's going to be Bosco and Rampy to gather information above, possibly maybe an Evil Eye from Chala.
Interesting, though, there is no Jaeger this round, at least, so they can get their grenades through a little bit easier if they know that.
Yeah, that's
one thing they can take advantage of, but they're not bringing a ton. They also aren't, again, bringing the smokes. They aren't bringing a lot of stuff they really need to clear the ADSs for outside of Thomas's grenades.
I mean, it looks like, okay, so Space Station have fallen back off the top floor so much faster than they usually do.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably faster.
They want to keep those C4s in hand.
And that's what I'm saying. This is definitely a very much a Hail Mary strategy from Space Station. They're banking on the C4s getting kills. Now, let's see if they do. 2 so far.
Yeah.
Nothing has worked.
That's 50-50.
Yeah, it looks like as soon as SSG loses a C4 on one of their players, they take that player and rotate them up.
Oh,
and that's 3. That's 3 missed C4s. No damage done off of C4s. Doodle does take some shots there, but no damage.
Latin America would be sad right now watching this.
There's going to be the flank camera that'll call out Rampy. Rexon gets Chala. And oh boy, Hyena's planting another for Rexon, doing a great job from the front door. And Hyena still in the plant. He'll get it down successfully. Space Station now in a 3-on-4 retake. And yeah, Doodle's not going to get to pick himself up. Thomas from above holding that flank. Rampy and Bosco looking very scared right now, especially after none of the C4s landed. No denial on the site. Luminosity took full advantage with what Space Station gave them. Rampy shooting up, and he'll get one. There's the flank watch above. Thomas gone. Could be a retake above here from Bosco, but Pixel's up there as well. And Bosco's actually pushed by the front door. Hyena gets Rampy, and it's all up to the Pulse of Bosco and a sliver of HP against 3. He's not going to have it. Rexen finishes off the last player, and Luminosity get their second round of the first half.
4-2 is not the best, but it's certainly not terrible. They managed to pull off 2 rounds despite looking a little weak on a lot of those attacks.
It's recoverable.
I gotta wonder too if Rexen factored into that tracking the pulse, because when they're playing a C4 heavy strat like that, you know the pulse is gonna be spending almost the entire time on that heartbeat sensor, calling out for the other players, trying to help get those C4s launched, which means he's gonna be visible to Rexen on that IQ for quite a long time. So that might have factored into the dancing around that you saw them do. That also just might have been blind luck.
I do think that, yeah, the C4 fiasco, just wow.
Yeah.
How do none of those land?
If anything, they were just opening up holes for the attackers to use at that point.
Yeah, it's very surprising that that not a single C4 went.
Yeah, you'd think the odds were they'd at least catch one on accident of someone running into it.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds were very much in SSG's favor. They just got unlucky.
It wasn't a bad strategy. They just weren't able to hit him.
Really unlucky.
Yeah.
So, Luminosity now going on to defense, and Rexen's going to get his precious Jaeger back. You were talking about it during the break,
yeah,
that banning Jaeger against Luminosity seemed to be a good strategy.
That was TSM's strategy, though, and that helped get them to where they are because they were able to win against Luminosity in a 2-0 fashion because they kept setting Rexen off. But SSG never seemed to want to use that same strategy because they obviously want to use Jaeger most of their defensive rounds, but still, it was so worth it for TSM.
Jaeger is as influential as a Thatcher ban, in my opinion. You know,
you put him on. Can be.
You put him on, depending on the team you're playing against.
Although oddly enough, no Thatcher coming up from SSG.
Yeah, that is odd. But yeah, the Jaeger, depending on the team you're playing against, he facilitates that hyper-aggressive play. Sometimes he can be like taking a pickaxe away from a miner. You know,
well, and it hurt Empire so many times the first times it happened until they finally adjusted.
Yeah, it takes some time for teams to adapt to that, and I'm sure Luminosity have probably worked out some things since they're now.
I hope so.
They've dealt with it, but it can be hurtful. It's not going to be because Luminosity are allowed to bring Jaeger this match.
Yeah. Of course, if they make it to fighting TSM, we may see that come up, but that's only if they beat SSG first. Of course, we have 2 more maps. You never know. Thinking Nade, though, is going to be playing that IQ role, so they're going to have that as well. But the big difference here is the Jackal. They want to stop that roam play despite not having the Nomad to do so. Ooh. And Hyena playing the Doc. Bosco just getting so unlucky like they did with the C4s, not catching him. But at least the Jackal tracks is going to force him to move around a lot to dance away from Buck.
Yeah, move around, sure, but obviously Spacestation angling for the kill here. In a perfect world, they're going to get it. But it looks like Luminosity are doing a good job of evading and delaying at that. Customs control here for SSG, but no CCTV control just yet. They haven't pushed in. They know there's no one in there.
Yeah.
They're not pushing it. It's half the round expended. Luminosity, well, I mean, they're happy with that.
This is the most effort I've seen to take the bottom floor on Armory, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Pixel's still downstairs. He's just chilling. He's waiting for an opportunity to be useful in the default plant corner.
Hopefully he's at least caught a drone at this point because, yeah, otherwise bringing the Mozzie there is just not paying off yet.
Well, the thing about that Mozzie is you can solo roam downstairs and you can put a pest on most of the entrances.
It's true. It depends on the map.
Actually, on all of the entrances in that room.
So that's a very good point. Yeah, cut that off and then at least you can stay safe. I mean, they have some idea there, but unlike Vigil, you're not going to completely give away your position.
Yeah. Save for the drops, of course. Most of the entrances, but the drops.
Yeah, most of the time the attackers aren't using those drops very often, though.
For drone work, yeah, they're going to come in from the door from downstairs. But interesting that this is an unreinforced armory wall, and yet it took almost the entire round to get it open.
Maybe that's why they weren't focused on it. They said we can open it later, no problem.
Well, 30 seconds left here. Spacestation still need to go for that attack, and they are going to get a refrag. Rexen goes down, but it's Chala who was the one to be punished on his push. Downstairs, there's another push coming out from SSG. There's only 17 seconds. This is really poorly timed, I have to say. And it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get to the site. No one even has diffuser in hand. Thomas eliminates Fultz, and okay, thinking Nade's got diffuser. He's down now to Thomas. The shield is working wonders for the smoke, but Rampy gets the refrag eventually, and there's, well, so little time, but the plant's coming out. Will the Evil Eye be able to deny? No, because the Maestro has to move. He's going for a flank by CCTV. He might actually make it, but no, the diffuser goes down. It's planted. It's a 1 versus 2, but Bosco's on such low HP. He has the advantage in terms of position. positioning. He's down below, and he can deny this diffuse disable flat out, but he's shooting the wrong direction. Oh, on top of the light, you can't shoot through it, and it's going to be a counter diffuse, a disable for Luminosity in spectacular fashion. Space Station almost took it, but not the case.
What a small goof there. The light protecting him. Who would have thought just that one small piece of non-destructible thing? So vertical play so far been just the bane of SSG. I mean, them falling to the same time pressure issue just is kind of ironic, but at the same time, they did actually get the plant down. It seemed like they caught the Doc and the Maestro both. I mean, they're ACOG players. You can play a long angle, but there was no angle set up to deny that.
It was so, I mean, well, the light, it prevents the angle from being opened up in the soft destruction, that little LED light, and he diffused on top of the light. I don't know if he did it because he was aware of what was
just
going
common
on,
plant spot.
or he was just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, because the other player was running around kind of playing as a little bit of a distraction, but
yeah,
Oscar—it's got to be feeling so bad at the end of that round there, because that was definitely an effort. I mean, they got the plant down. They had someone ready to deny the entire floor as much as possible to stop them from getting it, but just the irony of the light working against them right there. And that does get it closer to catching up, but at least SSG still have the point advantage here. They are still in control in this. But at the same time, now they're going to go even deeper into the roam and drone denial with the Vigil and the Mozzie this time.
It's such a weird round for both teams.
Yeah.
We got to say. It seemed like, because when SSG went for the explosion, they started retaking. It seemed like, or it's not, no, sorry, not started retaking. When they started taking, when they started pushing into the site, it seemed like they were going to be able to have, make it happen. But oh boy, did they just, that was weird.
I mean, the delaying did help because they were able to catch the diffuse planter right after he got off the diffuser when he couldn't defend himself, get the kill on him, and that did leave it on to Bosco. So the timing still worked out a little bit in LG's favor, but yeah, that was it was a good execute take, just on little time and just not favoring Bosco's positioning.
Definitely not favoring Bosco, no. So it's going to be ventilation for the second site, the side of Luminosity. And it'll be a top 4 clear from SSG, probably to start things off.
It's interesting that Vents was the primary site instead for SSG, but LG going with the more typical armory first, and, well, it worked out just barely.
Bosco just nearly single-handedly took control of CCTV, East Stairs, and then started pushing over to office. He did a lot of work just now over the course of that last minute. He's
really the one to watch for me on SSG. Based off the qualifiers plays he's had so far, he tends to be the one to really close things out, shut down rounds, and finish things off. And actually could have been the one last round to do it had it not been for that light.
So see that pest notifier on the archives door? That is slowing down Space Station a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
This is why Mozzie is so potent in Pro League and why you see him played a lot. Because one pest on one door prevents access to that door for
Not to mention, combined with the Vigil, you know there's someone around too, and you can't even drone him out.
And they just had to spend 30 seconds moving, well, not 30, 20 seconds moving over to shoot that pest before they can start gathering information on the rest of the top floor roam.
And that's going to give away, of course, their positioning as well when they do that, so all the rest of the defenders can just reposition themselves knowing that that's coming.
Well, I mean, it has been a reposition. As you can see, Luminosity call it. 1 minute left in the round. There's only one player actually still upstairs. Hyena, I guess he felt trapped. He decided not to fall back. This could cost him, and it will. Bosco punishes Hyena.
I can understand he has the ACOG and a lot of bullets. He could have pre-fired a bit more and been able to save it, but at the same time, getting flanked obviously didn't help.
That was a really odd angle, too. Bosco crouched there. I could barely see the top of his head near that debris.
I feel like we see so many Jaegers get trapped there as well, trying to hold that top floor, but in this case,
the Maestro,
play.
Of all things, too.
Yeah.
Because it's going to mean that his Evil Eyes are locked in place. I hope for his team's sake, they're in a good spot. Pixel gets the first kill for his team. Costs him half of his HP, but thinking he does go down.
He still has a C4 left as well, so hopefully he doesn't die with that in his pocket.
Folds from above will take down Doodle, where really convenient angle that, and Doodle not looking above him to account for it. Thomas also going to be downed, and this vertical play is working out great for Space Station. Very opposite to what we are used to from Space Station. It's been working against them so far today. Nice shot from Rexon. He knows once in bathroom, he'll get another. The Jaeger working out great here for Rexon. It's a wonder that people don't ban this against him, but he'll get 3 before being finished off. It's only Pixel in the hallway, but there's so little time. Rampy has to go for a plant, and Pixel's gonna have time to deny this plant outright, and he checks the correct angle. It'll be a down there. A beautiful round and Rexen saves it with a 3K at the end.
It was smart on Pixel as well to not challenge and to wait till the timer went down, knowing that he could not get off the plant anymore. Because had he gone prematurely, there's still a chance he could have got caught off.
I said it during when he was tearing people apart, and I'll say it again. It's really a wonder that Rexen is allowed to get his hands on Jaeger. I got to say, the way we saw that last round played out, there is no way that he wins with many other operators. Mozzie would have run out of ammunition, for example. He's got a great gun.
He's a super shorty at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, but that's not going to work out great. But no, my point here is, I mean, that was obviously something, a smart calculated ban from TSM, and I think that's a note that SSG might take in the future matches.
Well, there's 2 more maps potentially to go, and they could still consider doing that in the future maps. But yeah, it certainly worked for TSM, and it surprises me that they don't take advantage of that just because of how effective it was previously.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure Rexen has something he would rotate onto and be comfortable, but that Jaeger is just working so well in his hands. Now, 4-4.
Bathroom tellers.
Bathroom tellers.
Customs.
I mean, it's preference, man. It's pure preference because you defend them the same way.
This is really the French site, though, as I like to think of it, because it's primarily defended by teams that used to be entirely French, although both of them have shifted off that a little bit. But
yeah, to an extent.
It is definitely primarily a European site overall, and I'd like to see if they're able to pull it off. I mean, Castle is a big part of this working, but also just really tight defense of that top floor matters so much. And I got to imagine they're going to be prepared to at least open up that office and do as much work as they can.
Yeah.
But it's tricky to hold this because once you lose that top floor, you tend to lose the site.
Well, it's the same thing as customs. I mean, like I said, you defend it the same way. Customs you defend from CCTV, but you defend it from above. Tellers you defend from office, but you defend it from above. That's just how these sites work. And it's kind of the part of the standard border way of playing.
I guess the difference factor is that with CCTV, you don't usually require a castle to be able to make that work.
Whereas you can bring a castle and he'll help a lot.
You just don't see it very often compared to the bathroom tellers, as I think that's one of the few differentiators.
Oh, possibly. I mean, it is. Oh, that's interesting. Chala just used his drone to determine exactly where the mute jammer was.
Huh.
No, you can tell by the radius using your drone. That's clever. I don't know if it was deliberate, but he definitely figured it out.
It's gone now.
And he called it out to his team. It got shot by thinking, very likely from below, using that IQ gadget. That's some good work there from Spacestation. Very efficient take there on the armory wall. And, okay, Rampy just wants to push in. He is. Yeah, he's just going to push in. Have they drawn this out? Do they know there's one in archives? It seems not, because Hyena could have just been picked off there. He was crossing on the line of sight that Rampy was holding for a brief few seconds.
He hasn't even set up his deployable shield yet either.
Yeah, if Rampy had continued to hold that, he would have picked off Hyena. It's unfortunate for Spacestation and their fans, but doesn't mean that they've lost the round. It's certainly not over.
Foltz holding a lot of angles rather than playing with the tracking of the feet, but at least gets a kill out of it. That means footsteps that will now be untracked.
Did LG just fully fall off the top floor? Or am I mistaken?
It seems like it.
Thomas goes down. It looks like, no, they left one upstairs, and that was Thomas, but everyone else is all the way downstairs.
Oh, 3v4, so advantage at least to SSG. And they've got a minute left to work with. This is actually pretty good for SSG, and it looks like actually a lot of LG are maybe setting up for a retake of top floor, potentially up metal.
They're definitely setting up for a retake. They're all off site. Whether it's top floor or the site itself remains to be seen. We'll wait till the last couple seconds, I'm guessing, before we actually do see that.
At least Doodle's on site, but he gets taken down now, so everyone is off site at this point.
And Doodle was trying his best to play by Soda. That's a very dangerous position to play, a very odd one.
Nowhere to move.
He got trapped. C4 could not dig him out of that hole in time. Now Luminosity, really not in a great spot, but they might... Ooh, that's some bad timing for Hyena. It happens, but it's really hard to watch when it does.
He's gotten kind of lucky in some ways twice, but
that's unlucky right there, for sure. So I guess karma coming back to him. Now, Pixel trying to deny the plant. He'll do his best through these prone holes. The ump just doesn't do enough damage through the wall itself. LMG coming in here, but the ACOG hides Rampy, and Rampy from the shadows will take down Hyena. That's SSG finally picking up an attack round.
Well, with the lead they managed to pick up on their defensive rounds, that's not too bad. It's going to bring it to still advantage to SSG by 1 point, and that brings them 2 away from taking this map. Potentially. Could see overtime, as for those of you who mostly watch Pro League, this is a best of 3 where, as you mentioned earlier, there are no draws. If it gets to a 6-6, which would normally be a draw in Pro League, instead it will go to a best-of-3 overtime. So even if SSG get to 6 first, if LG can catch up with those 2 rounds, they could take it to that overtime, and at that point, it's still anyone's game. Pixel will switch over to a different potential C4 operator, but he was doing good work on the Mozzie. So hopefully they're going to get some good use out of this Bandit, maybe just to deny the wall. They did leave it soft previously, so maybe this time the idea is to harden it up a little bit, because leaving that soft did help them take that during that last desperate few seconds when they actually got the plant down, despite not actually being able to secure it. So maybe a good adjustment here to slow them down a little bit longer this time.
Okay, so Space Station, how will they attack Armory? So far from both teams, it's been a Armory wall attack. We've seen a distinct lack of office presence.
Well,
the only real office play we've seen was actually this last round, where it was a Teller's defense.
Yeah, when they had to.
Yeah, you have to take office.
It does surprise me, not a lot of focus on even attacking from there. We saw like a little bit of LGs trying to attack it during a pinch and not being able to contest it very well. So it's 2 for 1 there on that run out. He's going to get spotted for sure, and they're going to know there's cameras out there. You know that's a Valkyrie run out. You know there's cameras set up, and there's no IQ this time, so
that's really good.
Why not spot them?
For LG, yeah. It's unlikely that both cameras will be broken.
Fultz is definitely looking for them though right now.
He just saw it, but he didn't actually see it with his own eyes. Fortunate for him.
Look at this. They're going to spend 20 seconds just looking for the cameras at this point.
Rampy and Fultz have both seen it now, but they haven't actually, seen it.
Yeah.
They're looking.
It's been on their screen, but
I wonder how much time they're going to spend on that.
Yeah, they're just going to have to move on. That's what the Claymore is to help with. Set up that Claymore, at least that it won't lead to potential jump outs unless they've got an impact or even a C4 to throw out, but yeah, you really don't want to be worrying about your flanks when you're trying to focus on your attack.
That camera is really good because it not only assists the roamers downstairs in terms of information, it allows the players in workshop, main hallway, small office, wherever you are.
Jump outs in archives as well.
Jump outs. It gives you options, but mostly it makes it so you know where you're being pressured from. Because if they're not coming in from the front door or ventilation, then you can turn your sights elsewhere. And it also calls the rappel on the west balcony. So if anyone's rappelling west balcony, you'll be able to see it on that Valkyrie cam that is positioned on the building.
At least they finally spotted the Valkyrie and see they're on the roam. Downstairs, actually.
There's a movement here from Doodle. He's got C4, so he'll probably be playing for late C4 down below. And that's what the Valkyrie cam is going to be assisting him with.
We'll see if they can do that better than SSG.
Yeah, SSG did not have luck with their C4s from below very much. Anyway, they had some rounds where it was crucial.
Yeah.
But overall, for the amount of C4 that they brought, not great luck.
Well, a lot of people stacked up now to actually make the push in here, but they're still getting stalled out. But a minute left, and rather than hunt the roamers downstairs so much, despite having the Jackal and getting the ping on the roamer, they're just entirely focused on the upstairs. But they've got to know there's C4 down there.
Yeah, you got to expect it if you're Space Station at this point. The angle set up here from Fultz, he's just waiting for someone to peek. No one will peek him in all likelihood. So one smoke has been used, and a second will be used.
At least they're bringing those smokes.
This one positioned differently. C4 from Doodle comes out, but lands on the small office wall. Chala going for the plant. Thomas not going to try and deny, and it doesn't seem like LG is aware that this plant is happening. And yeah, in a 5 versus 5, the plant will go down. The fact that that has just happened means that SSG are very, very much in the position to win this round outright. Here's the first kill. Rampy from Rappel. Going to get one by Sandwich. He's looking for a few more. He's just going to stay on this rappel. He doesn't need to move, even though the enemy knows where he is. False gets another. There's Chala as well. Pixel, the only kill for his team, and he's gone. So there you go, Chala, a beautiful round. Wow, really putting it together for his team, not only opening up the wall, not only holding the flank, but also denying the disable of the diffuser. What excellent gunplay.
He literally didn't have to move.
Yep.
He just stood up and turned.
He's a turret.
Yeah. Well played by Chala. It's like he doesn't always have a lot of plays, but man, sometimes when he does, he goes off. But that is now map point, rather. Although it always says match point at the top. Hopefully we'll get them to change that at some point.
Yeah, it's hard because even I said it earlier. It's like on the next matches, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. We call them maps because a match is actually a whole best of 3.
Right.
It's really confusing. But yeah, the next map and map point. for Space Station.
Yeah, and for those of you who didn't catch it earlier, if you're wondering, this is map 1 of the 3. For those of you just joining us, map number 2 will be Kafe, and if we get to map 3, Decider will be Clubhouse, because not everyone catches the beginning, so just let you know. But we are dangerously close to the end of this map. Although it could still go to an overtime. I think there's definitely potential here from LG. They've had some good plays, but we've also seen some really standout plays from SSG.
So interesting fact, Space Station did actually lose to Luminosity in the quarterfinals of these qualifiers. 2-1, but Space Station still lost. And the fact that Space Station is looking really strong right now is great for them.
Yeah.
One big thing is that the maps that were played in that particular match were very different.
Only one the same.
Yeah. Villa, Clubhouse, and Consulate. The one map that SSG managed to win was Clubhouse, the second map of the series.
Yeah.
Villa and Consulate are not what we're playing here.
And that's the big thing, is because that's the decider is Clubhouse. They've got to win at least one map to even get there.
Yeah, and the thing is, when we talked about this earlier, Devin brought it up, these maps look good for Space Station.
Yeah.
So as you know, Border is one of them, and Clubhouse is one of them. I mean, it's just, it's a good situation if you're Space Station gaming.
Yeah, definitely. They showed 2 of their weaker maps to LG, realized those were weaker, and just aren't playing them this time. And again, I got to wonder why LG let the maps through that they did. I mean, either they just are going off if they got a lot of VOD reviews to be able to go through and figure things out, or just weren't paying attention.
To be fair, it is a best of 3, so you have significantly less fans and less options.
Especially with the ban, pick.
Yeah.
You only get one ban before there's maps getting picked.
You get the maps through that you want to get through, and then yeah, you're in a comfortable spot. EMP's coming out here, and SSG just about to take control of this army wall. The lifeline actually hasn't worked yet. Oh no!
Wow.
The lifeline didn't detonate and deny Pixel's bandit trick. That's one exothermic charge gone. It might have been those 2 ADSs that are sitting beyond the Thatcher EMP grenade's range.
And they're also now running out of utility to help stop that.
Because look, the EMP won't get those ADSs. The lifeline would have bounced off the wall, but it would have gone far enough to get caught by the ADSs. That's a really smart setup there from Rexon.
Yeah, good play on that. Not to mention his gunplay usually.
Yeah, Jaeger and Rexon, they just go together very well. He's a great Jaeger. And
butter and jelly.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of him himself, he's going to go for the rotate now for potential flank after just dropping down. He's got Pixel to back him up as well. It's going to give away his position a little bit, but man, a lot stacked up downstairs here. They're also going for a bit of C4 denial, I imagine.
Yeah, they've got the setup for the C4, that's for sure. EMP coming in here from Thinking Nate. It's his last one. The shield will get disabled. They don't want to deal with that monstrosity again. We saw some serious damage being done by Luminosity using that shield before. But SSG still haven't gone for the push. They're trying to bait out using their first smoke grenade. They will be successful in baiting out. There's some gas grenades to answer back. Nades coming out below to try and deny the C4.
They probably can't use the same plant position they used last time, too, now that that's known.
C4 goes out and does not land, or does land, but doesn't do any damage. And Doodle has been down from below. And Spasco likely from the window downstairs to take him, well, to the floor. Here comes the last gas canister, but there's only 18 seconds left, so it's a rush from SSG. He's all the way in. Fultz trying to just play the angles here, land some shots. And while the exchange is coming out here, it is favoring Luminosity ever so slightly, but it goes the other way as Fultz, the perfect player in the perfect position by half wall to get 2. He'll finally be shut down by Hyena as he attempts to rotate. It's just Rampy and Chala, but they have post-plant, and Hyena on 50 HP, not looking great. It's a double stack here. 1 on the window, 1 by half wall. So this could be a win here for Hyena if he plays it right, but he doesn't look the right way. And Rampy, final kill. Space Station will take map number 1.
They are just not good at denying that defuse plant. I mean, it costs SSG a ton of utility to make it happen, but when it happens, it just seems like they can't do much to deny it. I mean, at least SSG are bringing smoke, and I think while it's not helping them necessarily get the plant down, although it did the previous round, it's baiting out utility early, and that round they had a lot of time to play with.
Yeah, that round, I mean, overall, I would say the mistake was, yes, okay, partially Luminosity allowing the plant inside of Armory Wall, but also partially Luminosity allowing Space Station to play on border.
Yeah.
Space Station looked really comfortable there some rounds. There were some moments where it seemed like Space Station were going to be defeated, and definitely a couple situations where they had exceptionally poor time management. That's one thing that stands out to me.
It was definitely both teams really kind of struggling with that. See a lot of plays here. That even that team kill there by Thomas, there was quite a few of them during the match as well. And a lot of fights over this armory wall. That was definitely one of Thomas's best plays. Just everyone kind of had an individual decent play, but there wasn't a lot of people really overall kind of dominating outside of Rexon doing some pretty good work on that Jaeger, as well as on the IQ. So I don't know. Maybe despite losing, Rexon definitely put up some work for his team.
Yeah, Rexon brought a lot for the team. So did Fultz on SSG. I gotta say, commend him there, especially that last round. Fultz did end up winning that last round almost single-handedly because it was swinging in Luminosity's favor. Yes, the push was working for Spacestation, but they were low on time. The frags were mounting for Luminosity. Then out of nowhere, Fultz starts picking up the frags from half wall and securing the round for his team.
He was a good pickup for this team. I think he's definitely done well for SSG.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they still have a ways to go before they could possibly even get to Raleigh, but at the same time, I think they're definitely showing up. It seemed like it did take them a little bit of time to get warmed up, and that's the perfect time to start on defense, right? Is when you're taking time to warm up, start on a passive defense. So you don't necessarily have to be super aggro right away. You don't have to be kind of, your aim doesn't have to be completely warmed up just yet. I mean, obviously your reactions need to be there if you're holding angles, but at the same time, like, it seemed to work out well for them.
So as you can see on your screen, we will be having Kafe for map number 2. Then if we get to it, Clubhouse for map number 3. But Border definitely going the way of Space Station pretty handily, 7-4. We will get to map number 2 after a very short break. We'll see you then.
Welcome back for map number 2 of the second to last match here to decide who's going to be going to Raleigh.
Yep.
You catch it earlier. Emzo Kicks, of course.
Hello.
Still here for map number 2. And of course, this is the first match. Whoever wins this will be going to the second match against TSM. So it will be a little bit of a long day depending on whether or not we get to 3 maps both times. We'll see, though, SSG with a somewhat decisive victory there on border and going again to 2 more maps that do somewhat favor them.
So Kafe is up next. Luminosity, SSG, yeah, you could say to an extent favors SSG as they haven't, I don't think they've lost on this through the quals.
No, I mean, so LG won both these first 2 maps once.
Right.
But no losses.
They haven't really played it a whole heck of a lot.
No.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see what actually happens. This is one of those maps that I think is very emergent in the meta right now, and there are a lot of teams that are vying to be the best team on Kafe. It certainly isn't a predetermined one, and it's definitely a situation where we could easily see map number 3. Now, we'll be going to the ban phase straight away. Luminosity are starting on defense, so they ban first. They're going to take every single second here.
Yeah. Well, Lion. Interesting choice. Not sure SSG need to run a lot of Lion.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That feels like a preference.
I don't remember SSG running line though as a thing on the last map, and I'm pretty sure Luminosity ran it.
Yeah. So I mean, they just took away one of their own tools. SSG going with that cap ban this time. But yeah, that does seem like an odd choice.
That's what's Luminosity. That is exactly what Luminosity banned.
Yeah, this is
last map.
This is a little weird in terms of the map. And again, it could just be preferences rather than counter bans, things like that. But
well, like we know this Mira ban right here, for example, is a preference ban, and the Echo ban that's sure to follow, or Maestro ban, whichever one that's sure to follow.
Especially on this map, I would think Echo
is also going to be a preference ban.
Yeah.
So like I mean, the Lion, the Capitao, yeah, they could be sure just pure preference.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Well, this does look like nothing but a preference ban phase.
Which is weird because there's got to be something on Space Station you could target ban that you don't need. There's got to be. I mean, they were playing Jackal, for example. Luminosity didn't play Jackal. Ban the Jackal if you don't need it. Either way, we'll see. Obviously, LG on defense this time to start out with. They'll be going to bar first. Not a huge surprise. We'll actually see potentially Gridlock come out here. Yep. Well, is he going to confirm it or not? There we go.
Probably going to be confirmed. Gridlock has become kind of a sure thing on Kafe, especially when Nomad's banned. Not banned here, but Gridlock seems to be really popular.
Especially with Eclipse.
Yeah.
I think he played it probably the most at first on this particular map.
Uno as well?
Uno as well, yeah. Absolutely.
We've seen a lot of Gridlock being brought out on Kafe. She seems to be really popular here.
Well, there's only 2 sets of stairs you have to worry about.
Right, and she covers staircases so well.
Depending on the staircases too, and whether or not they have the ability for it like a railing or not, although which the white stairs now has that solid railing, you could even have potentially the leapfrog down to a lower floor of the lower flight of the stairs as well. So it's definitely a very useful thing to have on here. Didn't have the Nomad ban this time, so they could also bring Nomad on top of that.
Yeah. But they decided to opt for the Gridlock, which is fair. I mean, a lot of teams do. Nah, man, I wonder if you would bring both. I mean, the reason people don't bring both, by the way, because you're wondering, is because you need other operators. Like there are other tools that you have to bring.
There's almost only so much flank locking down you need to do.
Yep. You could use the Nomad as an aggressive operator too. We've seen that happen before. You know, Slashug has done some pretty crazy stuff as like with the air jabs, placing them behind anchor positions, forcing the engagement to go in your favor. It happens, but it's definitely not common.
Yeah. That being said, we'll see how it gets used. It is interesting to see it, for example, even used on Freezer when Capitao's banned, and you can't really send fire in there.
You're just gonna give up. Oh, fair enough, I guess. Right. I mean, it's a bakery camera. It doesn't really mean much. Yeah,
he's got other stuff to do, and a lot of times the engagement doesn't really go down on bakery too much for this floor.
Colt's having trouble getting anything done with his detector so far.
This early yet. Ooh, Rampy with a nice early kill. Doodle
what was that?
Must have gone for a peek of some kind. Got himself killed there. There we go. The body is in dining.
Wow.
So they might have been trying to fight a long angle onto the window through the fireplace.
Yeah, it's very likely he was playing that angle onto the window and he got caught.
Yeah, he doesn't have an ACOG, so
it's a hard fight for sure.
Yeah, not favorable to him. And Doodle going down early, not great. He is one of the good fraggers on the team. And there again, a freebie.
Rexon was trying to set up an angle, and he got punished. I mean, we've been seeing LG get punished twice now. That's all that's happened so far. They've been punished time and time again for trying to take aggressive angles. And they might just, again, but no, Thomas comes under the ACOG of Fultz and gets a refrag. Good teamwork there.
I love that because the ACOG is what won them the first 2 fights and what lost them the third.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tool that you got to use in a particular way, and sometimes it can cost you. Hyene is also going to punish Rampy, so this downstairs clear from Space Station to have... Well, it's at the beginning it worked out because it seemed like Luminosity weren't prepared, but now it's starting to punish Space Station.
They did take out 2 of the top fraggers, though. So there is that advantage, and also the operators. You lose the C4, I guess not as big a deal if you're not going to be playing below anyways, because you've lost the people that were playing below to an extent. But Thomas, interesting position for him. They at least have Christmas control here, and they're getting set up for the freezer. They can throw the track stings in there, and that's going to lock down the back of that freezer.
He missed it. It actually fell in piano, so only a few of those fingers are going to go into the freezer.
Right down the hatch.
Well, it didn't go down the hatch. It just hit the top there, and now it's in piano, I guess. I mean, he's cutting off the rotation into piano, which is good.
That's the idea, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe it was intentional.
There we go. Yeah, that's. I mean, he might want to throw another one a little bit deeper in the room.
Yeah, I think that's what he wanted to do, but he just missed. Nade comes out here towards Cocktail, but doesn't land on anybody. Bosco going to be pushing in now. He doesn't have any nades anymore. One playing in Whitehall. That's going to be Pixel in a really important position to hold on to Freezer, where Thomas is also... Chala going for the plant, and no one's there to stop him, but oh, he'll get down by Thomas. There you go. Good push from the bathroom, and he gets finally refragged upon, but Pixel in the winning position will take the round for Luminosity.
Not bad for Luminosity there after those 2 early picks. They actually came back with a pretty solid defense. It just seemed like Space Station getting the freebies early on just were not able to actually find a lot of players in positions that could compromise after that. I mean, the way that the Smoke was playing in the bathroom rather than playing inside the freezer actually, I think, worked out in his favor to an extent. Plus, he had good coverage from the other side on the A side to be able to fight from that side. Because, of course, the way this map used to work, you'd put a lot of people in kind of different positions, defending sometimes from the Whitehall way, sometimes from Cigar and things, and a little bit in Cigar area to defend Christmas, and then a little bit on the other side of the bar. And that area now with that balcony extended called Heaven, that whole area has just become this huge defensive bunker in the current meta, and it has really made a difference in the way defense happens. And it surprises me we don't ever see a good enough pressure on the backside of it, I think, from the White Stairs, for example. It just doesn't seem to work. But the Monty might be the change they need for this Kitchen attack here. Kitchen's, I mean, again, I don't have the stats, and I know I've said this a few times, but I feel like Kitchen defenses just don't work very often.
They're hit and miss.
Yeah, but going to it as your secondaries is risky.
I mean, the only other option is Reading, and Reading is played much the same way that you played top floor.
But Reading seems to work a lot more often is all I'm saying. You know, maybe the stats don't back that up. Maybe I'm just biased, but I've seen a lot of failed Kitchen.
I haven't seen the stats, and from my experience, Kitchen's defensible.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not... It's not perfect. I mean, the one big thing is that it doesn't take... Okay, so most of the sites on Kafe right now are comfortable for one big particular reason. The top floor is really easy to defend.
Yeah.
So if you're defending Reading, for example, you defend that by holding top floor as long as
Which
you
is
can.
on the Heaven side,
right?
A lot of times.
So you're going to be defending in a comfortable position. Well, but this site doesn't take top floor into account really.
No,
Homers can be upstairs, but they're not really gonna be there for very long.
You've seen them do that. And the angles they hold are limited as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely a site you can defend. It's just one you have to defend entirely different than you would any other site on this map.
Yeah. Well,
Bosco gets the first pick here. There goes Pixel. So no Mozzie drone's going to be a factor in this round. The pests are probably pre-placed though, so not the end of the world for Luminosity. One in main lobby going for a peek there from the big bar. He's not going to land any shots, and lots of information being gathered here by Rampy. Information of Marks coming out, and oh, the Montaigne's right on top of this Maestro. He has no chance.
Yeah, I like the combination too with the gridlock, because then all of a sudden you can lock down Monty's flanks with those tracks potentially as well. But this teamwork here using the window angles with Rampy and the Monty is really working out, because they're trying to push the Monty, and he's actually just kind of baiting them into compromised positions to those windows.
Yeah, straight up, this Montaigne could potentially have just won the round single-handedly. Rampy's going to get another on to Thomas. Did get the down earlier, so we can count that one for him. And now he's locked down the Jaeger, but oh, bad timing! Fultz denies the kill. However, it probably won't matter. This is a 5 versus 2. It doesn't seem like Doodle or Rexon have much of a chance. From above, Bosco, and from below, Chala to take out Rexon. It's all up to Doodle. looking to try and get one kill out of this round to avoid it being flawless. He goes for it and fails. Flawless round from Space Station Gaming, attacking onto Kitchen. Well, your assessment at the beginning of the round was certainly correct in this case.
Yeah, the Monty was a bit of a freight train, though.
That was the thing. Yeah, I would say that this is an outlier in terms of overall performance of the site because the Montaigne. That was
an interesting way to attack it.
No tools.
Which is funny because most of the attacks you usually see are focused on the bakery. That was not. That was focused on the dining hall side.
It was a white garage into dining, into main lobby, and it did seem like that Montaigne was the tip of the spear, the driving force, the engine behind that attack. And I don't think Luminosity were expecting it, and I don't think Luminosity had anything they could use to stop it.
They just didn't have a good retreat plan either, and they were focused on trying to fight the Monty. It certainly didn't work.
Okay. Going Kitchen again. Montaigne being brought again. And again, there's very little on the Luminosity side
they
to
could at least have a lesion.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's the point I'm trying to get to. Where's the lesion?
Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly right. I mean, I'm so confused.
Yeah, and what's most ironic is they're bringing essentially the super lesion on attack with Gridlock.
Yeah, I guess in a way. Yeah, definitely. But why not lesion? I mean, I understand the Mozzie's gonna isolate and force drones to go on longer paths. That saves your time. The Maestro you have to bring, obviously. The Doc, maybe not so much. The Jaeger, okay, yeah, he's a Jaeger. He catches grenades. And the smoke is always useful against Montaigne. But I'd say maybe swap out your Doc for Legion.
Yeah.
Or something else to counter the Montaigne, because you've got options.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, they need to make sure that they have good retreat points. Again, trying to combat the Monty is what got them killed in the first place, because they weren't able to fight him. They're like, oh, he's alone. We can take him. Oh, we'll pinch him. And then, now we're getting shot by Zofia from the window.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does seem like it's going to be the same attack here from Space Station once again. It's going to be White Garage into the main lobby. Now, the reason this is working so well for them, by the way, is because all they need to do to isolate their flank on this take is hold White Stairs.
Yeah.
That's it. They hold White Stairs, and no one can come behind the Montaigne.
And I figured that was going to be the strategy coming out from LG this time, was to play a bit more in the middle floor. But again, like you said, if they hold White Stairs, that's neutralized.
Yeah, the flank is gone. It just can't happen. They could run out outside, but they'll get detected in the process. You could see that Jaeger is aware of this, and he's trying to hold on to White Stairs, but he can't do anything.
He's kind of baiting the Monty up, though.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of is. But imagine if you were baiting into Legion traps. And that pest will get dispatched nicely.
Very true.
Rifles. Okay, White Stairs isolated. Now, Track Stingers will go down on these White Stairs, and the Monty will rotate down to main lobby in all likelihood. But no, it looks like it's going to be a hunt here. They're going to try and deal with the roamers above, and this is actually already punishing them.
Yeah.
Because Rampy tried to do the same thing he was doing last round. This time around, he got punished because there was no other force to assist him.
Yeah.
This has so far been a good adaptation by Luminosity, a nice bait by Luminosity upstairs, and Fultz fell for it pretty heavily. Now he's going to have to rotate over to the main lobby. He's finally in a good position, but they've lost the lethality of the push because they lost Rampy.
Yeah, that was definitely great baiting because they didn't lose anyone. They didn't even take any damage in the entire encounter and got back to their original positions.
Oh, narrowly avoiding death is Pixel, as is now Thinking Nate.
They're just taking shots and running away.
Yeah, some really interesting engagement so far through this round. You can see the long angle being played by Rexon. This is why he brought the Doc. This is why he brought the ACOG. He's looking for the fight. And he's going to find it, but he won't land the shots. Pixel will be picked up, probably put on 75 HP because there's a Doc in play. But oh no, the Doc is dispatched. That means Pixel probably will not be picked up. And Bosco takes him down finally on the red stairs. Okay, so Space Station have brought this back. The Montaigne's still working very much in their favor. Information coming out here from the Monty, and it's working so well for Space Station. They're going to be able to use vertical control as well in this round. Over by Prep. Hyena trying to hold out in the last 18 seconds, and he'll be successful against Chala. That's huge. But here goes Thinking Nade, getting his second in the round, and an ADS on the Monty. Doodle, another victim of that ADS. Fultz, a beautiful round, and Space Station take another attack onto the kitchen.
Well, despite that bait on the Monty is the one to make up for it. Just going full ADS ham there. And the pop-up from Jaeger completely punished. The funny part is time was actually the biggest advantage they had, and they still had their smoke. They didn't play it. Instead, they played super aggro. They threw the Maestro at him. They threw the Jaeger at him, and the smoke peeking. You smoke the Monty. That is the one thing you mentioned early on they had against the Monty. They know where he's coming from. He's pushing through that bakery doorway, and instead they peek him. Legion, finally, and the Monty snuck off, and sort of a counter to Legion.
They see a Legion. They're like,
and
okay,
now they'll see the Legion.
Now we won't bring it.
Yeah,
we're not gonna bring our Montagne.
And now they'll see the goo mine.
I guess that's why you 6 pick in the Legion.
I love the 6 picks sometimes.
Or did they 6 pick? I didn't catch it.
I don't think so.
I don't think they did.
I think it was a straight pick.
I think it was a straight pick too. Okay, well, good adaptation from LG. Just way too late.
At least they can go back to bar now.
Of course, the Legion not being there did not cost them those 2 rounds.
It cost them themselves the end of that round.
It just hurt them in those rounds.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate for LG that they couldn't handle the Montaigne while defending the kitchen.
Like you said, though, had they been baiting them into goo mines, that would have slowed them down even more.
Yeah, it's going to help.
They ran out of time.
It's going to help a lot. There were options for sure. But it's too late now. Luminosity will not... I mean, they will probably... It's up to them. They can go back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
But
I don't
expect them to.
And they can go to their good bomb site now. So.
We'll see if they go to reading next, maybe.
I hope so. It's just... Kitchen to work. I really liked how they played the second round until the very end, though.
Yeah, that's true. They tried to make it work. They did their very best. They adapted a little bit here and there in terms of their positioning, but overall, yeah, it wasn't enough. I want to say, yeah, really good job to Luminosity for that bait there. But I really have to stress how much I love Space Station's attack strategy downstairs. Because bringing that again, you isolate white stairs, and then there is no flank.
Not to mention, a lot of times, everyone's focused on defending Bankery.
Yeah.
And the back side of their defense is that dining side.
So I'm guessing this has been one of those strategies that's actually popped up in scrims a while back. It's probably old. And us just hearing about it now is, it's old news for the players. But that is really impressive. I really do like the way that they calculate that one. The main staircase that you see there obviously can also be isolated just as easily by those track stingers. So no flank on the initial take. Then when you get to the late stage, when you have control of the main lobby, more track stingers on that staircase, then again, no flank. You just keep pushing into the site. You're done. Easy. So it's a top 4 defense this time, and SSG have to try their attack somewhat differently, of course. Rampy is coming up these white stairs as quietly as possible, and he's about to happen onto an opponent. Doodle, unawares, goes down.
Spending too much time looking through that tiny little hole, and Rexon was just not positioned well enough to trade it.
And Pixel as well, very close, but not close enough. Traxxeer is coming up there on the Pixel spot itself, over by White Hallway to Piano. That's going to deny a late flank there on the White Hall.
Unfortunately, they don't have a Thatcher to do anything with what Foltz finds.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're not bringing the Thatcher, though there are a lot of... I mean, every other operator being brought on the attack is a useful tool that they do need.
Absolutely.
So it's fair that they're not bringing it here.
In this case, at least they'll be able to spot those goo mines before they potentially go for an execute push, which will be helpful, because of course you cannot plant the diffuser while you have a goo mine in your foot, and that can be a critical bit of timing. They're going to open up the bathroom here, and into the freezer, and this is going to give them all the flank power they need to start pushing people out of freezer. They could get set up for the plant on the far side of the bar, but they've of course got to worry about Hyena on the Maestro with that long angle ACOG across the bar. That's always the contest here.
Bosco's in a really, really big play-make position. If he can do some work here, then it could, get the team... or get his opponents in a really bad spot, because the freezer control is, of course, very important. The long angle being played by Hyena is also extremely important, because he denies entrance into freezer. Now, the big thing is that there's only 10 seconds left here for the attack, and the plant is coming down. Doesn't seem like there's anything to deny. No Evil Eye zapping away. The plant going down very easily here for SSG. Hyena will take down Rampy, and Thomas will eliminate Bosco, so it's back to almost nearly even. But Chala with the refrag and Foltz with the final one. SSG take the round, and it's looking very strong for them on attack Kafe, no less.
Yeah, once they took down Doodle, it seemed like just a lot of the pressure from Space Station continued just uncontested. Of course, they had the Maestro fighting the long angle, but the rest of the map, in terms of the top floor, was just slowly being eaten away at by SSG. They had Christmas control. They opened up the wall. Again, uncontested. They push into freezer. Uncontested. Yes, there was fights here and there and attempted flanks, but their ability to just push in and not really be pushed back just forced desperate plays from Luminosity that just led to picks and made it too easy. I mean, they had skylight control as well, so there's limited space in which you can move in that bar area. Just ultimately, giving away too much, and that was their best bomb site. So now they're definitely at a bit of a disadvantage losing that. They can go to it again, so of course they will, and they're going to go with Kaed this time.
Yeah, this is the thing that looks this is really scary for Luminosity. You're down one map, the best of 3. This is your last chance to make it into the Raleigh Major, and you can't find a comfortable site to defend.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, they did win one time on the top floor, the very first round, in fact. But I mean, they've been having a really bad time on this map.
You have to keep in mind, too, that the only team that LG beat on Kafe was Flynn's team.
Are you prodding Flynn right now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't in on it earlier, so I missed out. It was very enjoyable.
I have genuinely no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, but no, it was Shrug was the team that LG beat on Kafe 7-0. So,
well,
yeah. But my point being that there wasn't a Pro League level team that they beat on it, so maybe their Kafe, maybe not the best.
yeah. I mean, it's looking right now like Space Station.
Yeah.
Are the Kafe team in this lineup, and that is again that is the sort of thing that a lot of people are wondering about early on in this map's lifespan. People are wondering which teams are going to emerge as
we know
the
Rogue
Kafe
is,
team. Yeah,
for sure.
Rogue is a Kafe team.
Yeah.
Like Rogue have established themselves through thick and thin as a straight up Kafe team. But Space Station, Luminosity, who's it going to be? And if it's Space Station, then bye-bye Luminosity. They won't be going to Raleigh.
Well, they still have a chance to come back here, but the fact that they lost Bar last time, I don't know.
There's also the invite, so who knows?
That's true.
We don't.
That's true.
We don't, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
Space Station clearing out downstairs, and they will get the Electro Claw. IQ proving herself useful once again.
Yep.
Remember when she was not?
And this time he's actually hitting the gadgets correctly.
Yeah, him landing his shots. It's not an easy angle, of course. With sometimes with the IQ, those middle bars can be really a pain to deal with through the floor. Only one track senior used, and it's probably on the red stairs. He's got one more for that white hallway, and the last one could probably, he can go wherever he wants it to be honest.
I like how SSG has slowed down a little bit, knowing that they've attacked the bar a few times. They've shown a bit how they attack it, so LG is going to be a bit more prepared for it.
Yeah.
So they're slowing down and being a little more careful. But also, they haven't found a pick early.
Yeah, here's the thing in my head. I think SSG are just kind of accepting of, okay, if we lose this round, that's not a big deal. Because right now, they have 3 rounds on Attack Kafe. Kafe right now finds itself as a defender-sided map.
Yeah.
So this is a very good half for Space Station. And the beginning of this round, they're also going to take out the top, well, like not necessarily in this match, but one of the top performers for Luminosity, Rexon, on that Jaeger. That's huge.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's certainly not going to... I mean, they did manage to recover around where they lost both Doodle and Rexon early. So it could still happen here from LG as time burns down. It's only 38 seconds left. And that's really the biggest advantage they have right now, is just that time management. They need to play off of that, knowing SSG have to push them.
Pixel's a known quantity downstairs, but there's only 30 seconds left here for Space Station, and they've got to start rushing themselves upstairs. This is really bad. Pixel is going to be an unknown factor now because they've left him alone instead of trying to clear him out. But they don't have a choice because of this time. And this is something that SSG have time and time again put themselves in a position to fall victim to. The time management is not great. Doodle trying to retake into Piano, and he'll be successful to an extent, but stop still. Hyena will be taken down. The C4 there from Doodle, beautifully placed. The plant coming out from Fultz, but the bar is prepped, and it will be shut down by Doodle from behind. Luminosity are going to take their second defense round on the top floor. They still have yet to make anything else work.
Yeah. I hope they go reading this time.
I hope they go reading this time too, because the way that reading works again.
No.
Oh.
All right. Well, you know what? Please prove us wrong.
So it'll be a 6 pick into a Montaigne, or just a straight pick into a Montaigne.
Probably 6 pick away from it.
Maybe if they try to change up the strategy.
So, yeah.
The Legion is being brought. That's the one big difference here.
Yeah.
For Luminosity, not not that other team.
That other team.
The other team.
So of course they're going to stick with the gridlock.
It is going to be the gridlock. Yeah, that makes sense. So there's the Montaigne is secured.
It's the Doc that's going to get 6.
What is he going to bring?
There, huh?
Another counter from Montaigne?
That's...
Okay. That makes sense because there is no Thatcher being brought. So it's going to be grenades that will have to clear out the bandit batteries that are going to be placed on the freezer wall.
Yeah.
Or something else.
That's true.
And then if they stack up 3 ADSs there, with no Thatcher being brought, That'll mean you'll have to use your lifeline.
Yeah.
You have to use your smokes, or maybe your smokes and your flashes to make way for the grenade.
One thing I would like to see them do to adapt in, besides just that, is find a way to stop the Buck, Bosco, from playing upstairs. Because they can fight horizontal okay, but if they can't stop that top-down pressure, their positions are so limited downstairs.
Well, okay, maybe this time they're going to do the same thing they did the last time they tried to defend Kitchen, and by they I mean Luminosity, and they're going to try and bait the Montaigne into Legion traps on the white stairs. Maybe the Legion traps will be there this time.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe he will fall for it, but if he doesn't, then they don't clear out top stairs. Or upstairs.
That's true. Then Bosco can't sit comfortably up there.
Or maybe it'll be Spacestation going for an entirely different attack strategy. Maybe they'll try and come from above. I doubt it too.
I doubt it.
The reason that they don't is because why would you?
It works.
What they've been doing here, yeah, absolutely works. Okay, so this Evil Eye doing a lot of work here.
Just try to deny as much droning as possible, at least, right?
Okay, and again, it's going to be the same. Yeah, it's the same exact strategy. ADS cleared out. C4.
Oh, that's new.
That's huge. You were just talking about how important Bosco was on this site, and the fact that he's
shut down all the top pressure.
No grenades used from Bosco. No skeleton used from, or skeleton key used from above. That is huge. And no.
That's the outside coverage for Monty taken out now.
We're looking down the barrel of a 3-3 on the first half. This is a really great adaptation from LG. Thinking Nade's going to get Rexen, though.
Even the pressure through the drone hole.
Yeah, that's going to do some damage to Fultz, and he'll be finished off by Doodle. Where's the droning? A double for Doodle, but he gets finished off. That's 3 for him in the round. Chala, the last alive, looking for the Maestro, will find it.
Stop over-peaking this.
Yeah, okay, at this point, you're absolutely right. Low HP Chala.
Goo mines and smoke alone can kill him.
Yeah, and they probably will. That'll probably be what does it. Yeah, Chala's on low HP now because of, you guessed it, the goo mine.
There's only so many entryways.
Yeah.
He has to plant. Just put a goo mine on all the entryways, smoke it, he can't win.
So in order for Chala to win this, Luminosity, and by Luminosity I mean Thomas and Pixels specifically, are going to have the biggest throw of their professional careers.
They literally have to throw this at this point.
They have to just toss it away. So, because Chala breathes in just a whiff of smoke or hits one goo mine and he's dead.
Yeah. He's trying to rely on stealth here, but there's only 2 entries. I guess there's the hole opened.
Oh, yeah, there's a rotation there. He could make his way into the site, and he will!
Why
there goes Pixel! Oh no! Pixel exposed to an angle he did not know existed. Thomas, the last one alive, and he's still got the gas canisters, but he gives away his position. Oh, so low HP. Chala's waiting for the moment. He could absolutely get this at this point. In fact, to open up the angle, that makes Chala's odds even worse. From behind, Thomas! A beautiful flank.
Oh.
We didn't even hear it.
No.
The impact to cover his rotation. Beautiful move. And Luminosity will not whiff that round.
That so could have been a misplay if he heard him, though. But wow, well played by Thomas. That was so much more tense. It's so much more tense than it should have been for just a 1v1 there.
Yeah, Chala had no right to win that.
No.
But the fact that Pixel was positioned as poorly as he possibly could have been.
He was like, hello, goodbye.
That almost was a victory for Chala.
That would have been no good. Especially, I mean, you have goos.
That would have cost them Raleigh.
Yeah.
Without a shred of doubt in my mind. If Luminosity had lost that round, they would not have gone to Raleigh without question.
Yeah.
But now, a 3-3 half, that side switch, exactly as you said, this could be Luminosity's round. Or, well, this could be Luminosity's map is what I meant to say. And that would put us on map number 3.
Definitely could happen, but you never know how this is going to play out, right? Because things are switching around completely. And I talk about they're not playing the Jackal last map, but they're actually going to play this map. So they want to control the roam play, for sure. They want to spend a little bit less time clearing out the roamers. That was one of SSG's weaknesses. Was the amount of time they had to spend clearing out the roamers, because LG definitely play a lot of roam game on their defense.
Yeah, they definitely, I mean, both teams do.
SSG just did nearly as much on border as they might on this map.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think, I mean, we'll see, because SSG hasn't actually, I mean, this is their first defense, so.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Right now, they're setting up for, I think, a pretty substantial roam presence. That's a really cool black eye cam there, just underneath the shelf unit.
I love when the people use the Deagle for destruction to do things like that.
Yeah, the Deagle has a lot of soft destruction potential. The problem is it's so little ammo. Like, compared to every other gun, it's pretty low on the ammo.
Well, it's like the Super Shorty, too. You have to deal with the fact that it's only like 3 bullets at a time.
Yeah.
At least the ITA has 5, as you can see.
Yeah, there's a little bit more ammunition and more reserves on this.
Interesting that they're not bringing the gridlock, though. Bringing the Jackal's kind of giving up, bringing that gridlock, and instead of a buck, they go with a sledge.
Well, it's just going to be Luminosity focusing on the clearing of the roamers, like you were talking about earlier.
Rather than denying them later.
Yeah, it's been such an important thing for both teams. It makes sense to an extent.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the gridlock's a little more effective because you could generally take a certain amount of this map and hold it fairly effectively, and with 2 stairs, I'd almost rather lock them out than hunt them down.
That's what most teams do. That's exactly it. Is, hey, why hunt the roamers when we can isolate the flanks and push the site? And considering how much there is to clear and how much we've seen these attacks come down to time, makes sense. But no, it's going to be the Jackal. So we'll expect to see a dedicated clear from Luminosity. Or
they can pull it off.
Maybe they'll just use it on the site.
You never know. It could just be to just get an idea how many people are playing on site, how many people are roaming, and which floor they're on.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, he's still droning at the moment, using that instead of his footprint detection. The Owl Inox. They do spot 1 downstairs at least, the Valkyrie on the roam inside train. It's going to be Bosco. Looks like he has potentially some coverage down here as well. Maybe another teammate from Rampy, a little further off. Doodle, I gotta imagine, is going to catch some of their footprints at some point here, but again, he's focused on the top floor. They're not really doing much about these roamers, and they're not bringing a whole lot to shut them down. They may have some claymores to be able to stop them. Looks like at least Pixel has set his up already. So there is that. The classic claymore on the red stairs. Thank you, Marcio. But Rampy gets the kill on Hyena, so hunting does not work out for the Thermite, of all people. Who's going to drop the diffuser now? That is not a good idea. I mean, it wasn't a hunt necessarily. He is upstairs, but the angle here, what was that?
It seems like he died trying to place an exothermic charge on the wall because there were pre-prepared holes underneath.
That was a well-placed angle.
Yeah, and that's kind of Luminosity not clearing out the roamers, coming back to haunt them, as they could have easily denied that and now have the freezer open, but there's only 30 seconds left, and well, no hard destructor, no freezer open. This is going to be a bottleneck push for Luminosity, not an easy one to boot. With only 20 seconds left, Evil Eye still in play. Thomas lands a nade onto Fultz though, so that's looking good for Luminosity. At least they managed to take out 1, and there's another for Rexon onto Bosco. So, Spacestation, their defense starting to fall apart somewhat. Thinking Nate in a really important position, but he misses the blast! Thomas wins the fight! It's just Chala and Rampy in a round that really should have been Spacestation's quite easily, but now only Rampy. The plant not going down though, as the planter has been downed in the process of getting his kill, and Spacestation win the round.
What a goof!
An absolute goof of a round. Well put, Devin, and
A comedy of errors was that execute.
The time. Again, the time.
I mean, kudos to Rampy, though, for that angle that he pulled off, catching the Thermite. That really shifted things around. But the misplay in the freezer, switching from the SMG to the shotgun and then whiffing the shot as he pushes in, like he wasn't even looking you at first. You're like, oh, hey, there's someone in here with me. Let me switch my shotgun real quick. It's like when they fumble and drop the shells all over the floor.
Yeah.
But oh boy, just the misplay on no plant coming down. He was downstairs. It's not like he has C4. He can't do anything to you. The plant absolutely could have gone totally uncontested.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Well,
That is unfortunate.
Spacestation are counting their lucky stars right now.
Yep.
And saying, oh wow, we've got a lot of those. I wonder if we've got enough to get to Raleigh. Because right now, they're going to go to Kitchen.
Thomas top fragging of all people here outside of a Doodle. Surprising. Rexon, Pixel, and Hyena just sitting down at the bottom. Surprises. Looks like we might need a rehost. Not sure what happened there. Oh, game crash for one of the players. Not sure who. It'll take a second to... Now, keep in mind, 7 rounds have happened, so it will take some time to input all those rounds again.
Yeah,
So,
this is going to be a longer rehost.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the call. It's admin call, and then there it is.
All right, we may or may not even need to go to a break for how long that might be, but nonetheless, at least not too much had happened in the round yet, so I don't think it'll give a huge disadvantage to either team. And, I don't think a ton had gotten really identified, although the delay in kind of confirming the rehost might have not helped a ton to the defenders. But
the biggest thing is that the defense now is going to be given away in terms of their sight.
Yeah.
So small advantage to Luminosity.
Yeah, because it could have been reading.
It could have been reading. We haven't seen reading defend yet. It's just been kitchen and top floor.
Yeah, no, of course, it doesn't mean they can change up their operators or anything like that to adapt, but they can actually change up their droning, for example. They can drone a little bit differently, knowing they know where the site's at. They don't have to put any drones anywhere near site in terms of trying to identify it.
They can also change their strategy. That's the big thing, is like both teams can change their strategy and their setup.
Yeah, the defenders can change reinforcements if they want.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. Although,
They won't.
I don't expect them to. Yeah, I mean, like, they won't.
Nothing has happened yet to encourage them to.
Yeah, right. They don't have any input from the from the attack, whereas the attack has plenty of input from the defense because of drones.
Yeah, it certainly happens, but nonetheless, of course, that also causes a slight break in momentum. Although neither team had really built up a ton of momentum because we had 2 rounds for LG before that round for SSG, which, although that was somewhat of an LG round as well, so Luminosity were the ones with some momentum. So maybe SSG can flip the script now that they have a slight break from this.
It was 3 in a row for
almost.
Almost 3 in a row
Yeah.
for Luminosity there. They actually was just a start for SSG. I just recorded it incorrectly. Now, I mean, I recorded it incorrectly because that should have been
It absolutely should have been.
First, it should have been an SSG
Yeah.
round. Then it should have been an LG round. Then suddenly it was an SSG round again.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I see Rampy running downstairs and I'm ready to write, all right, that's an LG round?
And then there's no one planting. Oh my God!
What happened?
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. Because there was no one planting.
Yeah.
It was very confusing. So as we wait for the map to come back up, we can see, yes.
Yeah, for anyone who missed the first map, there it is. There's the score.
Border went to SSC quite handily. LG have not been able to put 4 rounds together on either map just yet.
Yeah, obviously Kafe is not finished yet, so don't take that as a finished score, but that is where we are at the moment as we wait for the rehost to get set up.
They did start on the, or by they, I mean Luminosity, did start on the advantaged side, though.
Yeah.
On Kafe, at defense, and they only got 3 rounds out of it,
Yeah.
which is not great.
At least they didn't go down in a 4-2. That could have been pretty bad.
But the attacks for Luminosity have been looking good, similar to the attacks from SSG on this map so far. So you can't count them out just yet. It seems like these two teams, the way that they match up against each other, are a little bit different than what you're used to seeing on Kafe.
I feel like with the way the rounds have played out, if you're defense, focus as much as possible on delay. Just stall them out as much as you can, deny their ability to feel comfortable, and they'll just burn out of time themselves at this point.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out what it is exactly the defense of SSG decides to do as they now go to Kitchen as their secondary site. I wonder when we're going to see reading.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll find out in the future. But
I think that's probably the least we've seen reading out of Kafe so far.
I mean, we've had matches before, I feel like, where it hasn't gotten played at all because the defense has struggled. But
I mean, I can understand no mining, dining, but
it doesn't happen very often. Yeah. Mining is less desirable than reading for sure because it's harder to defend because, again, the reason that reading is better is because reading is on the cocktail side of the map, which is the side that you are going to defend as a roamer up.
Also, they did change the destructibility of train, and that certainly doesn't help either.
So back to Kitchen we go.
All right. Thank you, Marcio, for the quick rehost and getting all that data input. I know it's kind of a pain to do quickly. So we'll see what they're going to do. We didn't get a lot of time to see the actual setup for it, as we were focused on whether or not there'll be a rehost. They are bringing a castle, so that's something different than what we saw from Luminosity. Folt's going to be bringing that out. And, of course, Elysian, just in case the Monty was 6th pick too, right? In case the LG wants to try and adopt that strategy. They are going to bring the Jackal again as well to help with the roam hunt. I got to say, though, the Monty was a little more effective on the roam hunt in general because he could just walk in and look for them rather than having to try and scoop up some of their footprints. Kind of taste the shoe prints on the floor.
10 seconds to
One
go.
more castle barricade left to go in the setup. And interesting choice, deny an angle there from the window.
Yeah, I don't know if the Jackal was the right call for Luminosity.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
It just screams aggression.
Yeah.
But it also is it's such a lack of flank hold is the thing.
Well, it's like you get map control, you just can't hold it.
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose it comes down to, being fast enough on your attacks to the point at which map control cannot be regained from Spacestation.
I mean, you literally could, you'd have to give something up, but you could bring Jackal and a Gridlock or Nomad.
It'd be interesting. I mean, they're deciding to bring the Thatcher, which is counter to what Spacestation were doing. We're avoiding the Thatcher. So that is the change that Luminosity makes, I suppose.
Good to see so much Mozzie play today, though.
Also, no Montaigne, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Mozzie play. I mean, that's standard. I think Mozzie has worked his way into being one of the best operators in
Yeah.
And a lot of pros.
I think when everyone saw the ability to steal drones, they were like, "That's gonna get played."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but for me, I think the biggest thing for Mozzie is the zoning of the drones. Like
the
fact
super muting.
It's super muting. That's exactly it, because it's better than mute.
Yeah.
It outright stops you from using a doorway or a drone hole.
Well, Thomas takes a bit of damage, but they did at least get some footprints. You see a lot of pinging coming out, so they identify where they're at, but they're just not executing on just, oh, there, as I say that, finally taking out. That's what that castle barricade was for, and ultimately it ends up just being a surprise for the defender. Castle himself getting punished for not being able to secure that.
Yeah, it didn't rotate in time after the wall was opened up. A nice shot from Chala. Rexon goes down. All right, well, right back into it is Space Station.
I mean, Jackal keeps getting picked relatively early here. It's just maybe he's face checking a bit too much, or just not playing safe spots to be checking from.
And dissimilar to Space Station, Luminosity don't have another set of smokes on their attack. They also don't have anything to watch these flanks anymore. So they're going to have to hard watch the flanks, which is going to slow down their attack quite substantially. There are people in positions to flank. Rampy is above them, and he's just waiting for an opportunity.
Well, at least a minute left for this attack to work, but at this point, the attacker's a little worse off. You see the damage on Buck and Thomas, and they haven't picked some of the more important defenders off just yet. Picking off the castle is the least important defender you're going to kill on right now.
Flash to clear the ADS, nade to follow it up, but there's no one to fall victim to that grenade. And Space Station in a great position so far. Now the freezer wall is opened. Yes, thanks to the Thatcher, that was an easy job. I mean, there was no denial from Space Station, but Chala's going to get his second kill onto Thomas. So Luminosity really having trouble here. A third for Chala, but Rampy from above denies the ace. Hyena goes down as he attempts to run in through the breach. Pixel looking for a kill, but there's a 4K for Chala, and Space Station Gaming will win their first kitchen defense. Looking strong on Kafe.
Maestro is such a strong operator.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
I feel like if Echo wasn't so strong right now, Maestro would be getting banned as much as Echo.
Oh, yeah, whichever one gets nerfed first.
Yeah,
whichever
the other one's getting banned.
The other one's getting banned all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if it's the Maestro that gets banned.
Technically, Echo's gotten a small nerf on the TTS, but it's not going to impact Pro League.
And it's not on the it's on TTS, not live yet. So.
But it's not the kind of change I can see affecting Pro League at all.
Really? What is it?
It's the amount of time you're stunned for. It's slightly less.
I think that'll be relevant.
I don't think it's going to stop people from banning him, though.
It won't, because the reason that Echo is so relevant is for a couple of different reasons. He gathers information on invisible drones, yeah. And then also he can deny you from planting for a split second. That's what makes him so incredibly relevant.
Well, I mean, it's like imagine an Evil Eye. They can't shoot lasers, but it's invisible, and it can move around the map.
Yeah, and it denies the plant.
Yeah.
It just, you're off, no plant, stop. Yeah, stop. And they didn't. Did they not nerf the quantity of the concussions that he has on his drones, or?
I don't think they changed any of that. Just the duration of stun.
I mean, that'll be impactful.
Well, I think the idea was they were trying to improve the comfort of like ranked and casual play, where it's really annoying to be stunned for a long time.
I guess,
because they're trying to reduce the annoyance of some of the operators.
Yeah, I get that, but yeah, okay. So it's going to affect Pro League, but it's not really going to change too much.
Yeah, only when he's unbanned, which is going to be still rare.
Yeah. He gets banned in most matches.
But quick note, two things. First off, first is Dokubi, which is good to see that with the line being banned. But second, mining dining.
So mining over reading.
Yeah.
That screams just an entirely new setup from Space Station. That means they're doing something different, and that is probably why they've brought the castle. I really want to see the setup from Space Station. I want to see how...
Marcio, can we take a look at the castle setup?
Yeah, I want to see how they're trying to defend this, because this is entirely different to what we're used to seeing on this.
That's one more upstairs, and then where's the third one?
Okay, so here's what's going on here. They're using the castle barricades to reinforce downstairs by mining itself. Now, this is being done because mining is an exposed site. And they've set up a hold inside of train, which is something we used to see back when this was the secondary site. And they are still using the cocktail roam, but it's somewhat different as they've played it a little bit more open on the angles. I'm guessing they're using cocktail as a bait, and they're trying to use the castle barricades to slow down what would be a rush into mining if the attackers could read it.
Yeah.
And they could read it, but then it'll be slowed down.
Yeah, and they're definitely trying to drone it out to get an idea how it's going to be set up first, but at the same time, the one thing they could potentially do is do some destruction to the floor inside inside train, which is one thing you could do now, but they didn't bring a buck. They would have to do that with the Jackal shotgun.
Yeah.
To play that.
Yeah. This is gonna be a weird round for Luminosity, and it's gonna come down to how well they read how Space Station have set themselves up.
Oh.
Nice angle from Chala, and he'll actually down Doodle, but no secured kill, and that's gonna be a picked up Doodle in probably just a few seconds.
Yeah, good timing on the phone call. That's gonna stall him out from finishing the job, but there's Doodle.
He's gone.
All right.
Rampy pulling another aggressive angle. Thomas, a beautiful shot onto Thinking Aid. Very tight angle there to get that one. Just the 2 ACOGs upstairs. Looking for more. Chala from heaven. He's actually going to get downed by Hyena.
Wow. A Maestro versus a Thermite. I wouldn't have ever expected the Thermite to win that.
I mean, he's got a good gun too, just less ammunition.
Absolutely.
Rampy trying to retake this angle. The phone calls giving away his position, but this cocktail roam hasn't worked out great for Space Station so far. They get one, they waste a lot of time, but not the perfect result that I think Space Station were angling for.
Yeah, and both logic bombs have been fired now. However, that does give them a second set of smokes at least.
Rampy on heaven, punished. He tried to fall back, he tried to drop down, but he was eliminated. He probably could have gotten a kill or two. It didn't seem like that he was droned out. It's just a reactionary kill there to take down Rampy, and Bosco and Fultz now have to hold out to the site for the last 20 seconds. I mean, it's doable, definitely not easy. Hyena hit by a Legion Trap as he attempts to push into the site. He's the one with that diffuser, but he's in reading. Oh, beautiful shot for Bosco. He falls back as the exothermic charge goes off. He'll give another on the floor. No time to pick him up. It might still happen, but it's unlikely. The plant has to go down here, but no one's planting. Diffuser in hand, and here it comes, the smoke to cover. Fultz has got to have a miracle play here. He can deny the plant if he just shoots the right angle, but he doesn't pull the button, and it's going to be Pixel, the final kill. Luminosity, a very last second attack there, but such a close one.
Bosco really tried, but just too many guns facing his way. There was almost no chance he was going to be able to get both those on the stairs because they were so separated from each other. It was going to have to be a heck of a flick and headshots only at that point. So well done by Luminosity. They were running short on time, but they certainly had a huge man advantage. Like you said, maybe a little bit of misplays up on top there trying to defend heaven, and Mining Dining maybe going to get relegated to history at this point.
Doesn't pull the button, doesn't pull the trigger, doesn't press the button. How does that translate into doesn't pull the button? Where did that come from?
It doesn't. You know, sometimes buttons don't get pulled.
I don't understand, Kickstar.
Attackers need to
I don't
locate and
understand.
defuse
You can
bombs.
clip that just so you can watch it back later. What was it?
Doesn't pull the button.
Oh no!
I done
You
messed
never
it
know
up.
how his computer's set up. He might have some crazy contraption.
maybe he has some kind of
He's
trigger.
got some mousetrap kind of thing going on.
And he actually has like a trigger where he's like, this is how I shoot.
He's got that old, one of those old gun mouse things.
Is that a thing?
There was there's some weird gun mouse things back in the day.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I got to see that.
Link it to Kit.
He didn't pull the button. All right.
Our time.
Space Station, yeah, going back upstairs. So, okay, this is important to remember. They didn't win their tertiary site, which is okay. That's fine for Space Station. They're still in a comfortable spot. They looked comfortable on top. They looked comfortable in kitchen, and well, okay, I say they looked comfortable on top. They narrowly won on top, but they could have they in the lead up.
Yeah.
SSG looked good. They just fumbled the finish.
Here's the important thing, though. If they win their 2 primary bomb sites again, that's it. That's end of map and end of match. And good start for that. There goes Rexon. No footbit's going to get tracked again. Again, the Jackal dying early. That's one of your operators you've got to keep safe because his utility is throughout the round.
Bomb located
The one thing
by
they did is
attackers.
6 pick over to a second hard breacher, I guess. But
Those are the kind of hyper-aggressive plays that if you get away with in a situation like this, 5-4, Raleigh point, well, near Raleigh point, it is.
Raleigh
we're on
point.
the penultimate round right now, as
Yeah.
Parker would say, and we're getting really close here for it to be a Raleigh ticket for Space Station if they could beat out TSM in the next match.
here's what's interesting I just thought of. The reason they brought the second hard breacher, you know what happened last time? Hyena died trying to open that wall. And now they have the backup to open up freezer if they need it. Or even to be the primary to do it that won't expose himself to the same angle.
It's probably the right call for Luminosity. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Don't take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, they need that wall open.
But they don't have their smokes now, so that's so huge. And it just looks like, it was actually, it wasn't a hyper-aggressive play from Rampy as much as it was from Rexon, by the way, as he was trying to push in through the white garage a little bit too fast. Didn't seem like he had anyone droning for him.
Yeah, not a good time to try to be running and gunning.
Oh, no way. No way. Is that in the vase?
That's a nice spot there. Thank you for highlighting that.
When does that happen and work? How does LG not clear that?
There we go. Spicy.
Rampy's having a good round.
Yeah.
He could actually come up from below in C4 if he sees that no one's watching the flank, because again, there are no flank watch operators. There's no gridlock. There's no nomad. There's a claymore, but that's a predictable one.
Oh, absolutely.
It can be shot quite easily.
Well, they are going to start to open the wall the way I was talking about in terms of not risking the thermite to do it.
And there's the mute jammer, so only some of those Excaros will go off.
Well, Chala playing the patience game as well with the nice open bar.
Oh. So close.
Yeah.
Rampy has the information from his teammates. Somebody's got to be on that camera calling it out for him. He could go for this flank, and he knows it. Nice shot from Chala. He's been landing his today. 40 seconds left. Luminosity, 2-man down. Rampy not going to take unnecessary risks. Not going to go for the flank. He doesn't know where he's being shot from. A lot of damage there put onto Rampy. Chala playing these long angles again, looking for some more frags. No one on Skylight, which means freedom to move around the big bar. Foltz taking some very, very big risks. Rampy, though, takes out Thomas. That's his second in the round. He's been doing so much work for his team. And there's a C4. That's 3 for Rampy, 1 for Chala, and 1 for Thinking Nades. Space Station Gaming, a flawless round. And we go to map point, series point.
Not a great place to be for Luminosity. Again, these maps absolutely favoring Space Station, proving especially on the second map why. But both maps, so far, 4 points is where they get capped out on for Luminosity.
And it'll be Kitchen for SSG, which, to be honest, looked really good for them.
Yeah, certainly it was much better for them than it was for Luminosity, that's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely a struggle for Luminosity. They lost a lot of Kitchen defenses, and that's why they find themselves in this position.
And then somehow I doubt they're going to go with the same Monty strategy. So they're going to go again with the Dokkaebi and try that. And then again, that is going to give them double smokes. At least they have the redundancy there.
You saw that Space Station just faked out another mining defense there.
Yeah.
The castle pick.
Nice choice. I mean, they did run a castle as well, I believe, for the Kitchen defense previously, if I'm remembering, or that was just... Was that just mining? I think that was Kitchen as well that they used it, because they used it to cover the angle.
Yeah,
remember the castle got picked from, so...
They did, yeah.
I think they were just kind of disguising, like, which side is it going to be? I don't know.
Yeah,
the castle was used for both.
Trying to pull a fast one, but it probably won't trip up Luminosity too much.
Maybe they made him think it was going to be reading.
Yeah, maybe. They're also... Luminosity are bringing very versatile loadout.
Yeah.
Overall. Pixel's going to lose his drone early on.
10 seconds
That
left
is
before
not great
insertion.
start when you're already on the back foot.
Yeah, it's important to note that the drone economy, something that we don't often talk about, that doesn't get highlighted enough, is really important because, especially with Mozzie coming in here, you've only got a total of 10 drones, and every single one that you lose hurts your team.
It's not just Mozzie, it's the fact that Mute got a buff a while ago and getting the
That too.
SG-11 as well, so between those two things...
Mute being played, Mozzie being played.
Yeah, it's rough.
And it's rough out there as a drone.
I mean, especially even for players who like more support players and their only job is to drone early on, now their jobs are so much harder.
Yeah, it does take a lot of work for sure. And losing your drone for Pixel on that Thatcher, that's not great. But, I mean, again, not going to debilitate the attack.
No.
Just a really important thing to point out is how important those drones are. They're the primary source of information for the attack. The defense has a lot of gadgets. The attack has drones. And, well, a few other sources, of course, but you know what I'm talking about.
Well, hopefully for Luminosity, they're able to get a bit more use out of the logic bombs coming out. The Cymer maybe even hack the cams, because that means they'll be able to get those Maestro Evil Eyes as well for some additional intel. There isn't the Valkyrie, though, to be able to see through those cameras this time. Otherwise, it would have worked great on the Red Stairs cam, but still, additional info would help here if they're able to get more use out of the Dokkaebi. That's something that SSG haven't brought.
Luminosity have got the top 2 floors. It was a very different attack strategy than what we're used to seeing.
A little more solid. In this case, also, Rexon's still alive at this point. It's a good start.
Yeah, it is a good start. The big thing is that they're taking the top 2 floors, though, which is just not common on a kitchen take. I mean, usually it'll be bakery or it'll be white hallway by the white garage, or but in this case, it's just top down.
Well, bakery's a lot more safe because you don't have to worry about the vertical pressure until you get into kitchen.
But this case, I think it might be a top clear for the vertical pressure, but there's no buck, there's no sledge.
They just got the ITA, I guess. But they also have the Zofia.
They probably have some breaching charges somewhere. Yeah,
probably on Zofia, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Although I think they,
Ooh.
I don't know. Oh, Pixel.
Free kill.
Rampy down. That's the Mozzie down too. That's a good start. Not only the ability to control those drones that he captured, but also the C4.
Yeah. Rampy obviously kicking himself for peeking that angle. and being punished for it. Luminosity are likely to get this open, but there's impact tricking from above. Will it be successful? No.
All right.
So that's the wall open there. Good job to Pixel and Hyena for making that happen.
This is going to be a lot of angle play now and timing and in terms of these peaks.
Yeah, we're down in the last 30 seconds, so this is really, really tense for both teams.
That was a Mozzie drone. Anyway.
Small advantage here to Luminosity as they have the man advantage, but so little time. Here comes the rush with only 15 seconds left. Hyena all the way in. Fultz will take down Doodle. Thomas and Rexon putting ones on the board, and Rexon having an excellent one as he comes from behind. It's all on Bosco. Can he deny the plant on 0-0-0? It's actually not going to work out time-wise, but he does deny the plant, and he goes for cover! And oh, just barely! 1 second left, but Rexon gets the final kill, and Luminosity. Oh boy, they keep themselves in this match.
Rexon goes from dying and being ineffective most attack rounds to finally saving them from losing their chance at Raleigh so far. What a play from Bosco, though.
That was super tense. Yeah, we almost saw Bosco clutch that out.
Mining dining again.
I wonder why they prefer mining to reading. It's curious. Not many teams feel that way about it.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. I mean, I would almost like them to succeed, so that way we see maybe a bit more of a resurgence on it. Because obviously, if it continues to fail, teams are going to be like, "That's why."
Mm. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a bit of a risk here for SSG as they find themselves nearing overtime.
This is a big opportunity for LG because all they've got to do is win the site that they failed on, that SSG failed to defend successfully before, and they take it to overtime.
Yeah.
And that resets a whole lot of things.
That could also be, I think, in terms of momentum, in terms of the mindset, that's going to put LG, Luminosity, in a great spot.
Absolutely.
If they win this, they take it to OT, oh, I can see map number 3 coming.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think that will definitely be the confidence boost they needed. That hey, guys, we can come back at this. That is a big factor sometimes for teams.
Well, setup finalizing.
More castle play?
Yeah. It's mostly set up upstairs. Okay, one thing to point out here is the last time that Spacestation played on this site, their top floor roam was really not great.
They threw too many bodies at bullets.
Yeah, they did, and they punished 2 people. We saw Luminosity lose 2 people on the top clear, but it just wasn't enough.
No. I mean, had they been able to at least trade those out for sure and secure a lot of time doing so, it would have been fine. But I think they got 1 out of that pick, if I remember correctly, was the Zofia.
They got 2 on the top floor.
Was it 2? Okay, good at least.
Yeah, but it was, again, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. See if Rexon can be the hero again this round. Has been struggling a lot of the previous attack rounds, needing to be a lot more careful with his droning and a lot less with his face. He's also important to open up the hatch. As small of a job as that is, there's 2 hatches to open now that Kafe got that buff at the second hatch. The nice thing about that one, of course, is now he often will find footprints from there, although in this case it looks like he might have to adjust his angle. Catch them?
Yeah, the Jackal distance buff was really important in his relevance.
I really think so. It was one of those small things that really increased his utility.
It's quality of life as a Jackal. You don't have to get right up on top of the footprints.
Doesn't seem to stop Rexon, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to have control of red stairs with the rest of his team. There's a heavy stack on red stairs. Could you imagine C4 right now on red stairs? That would be crazy.
Yeah, the Claymore wouldn't do you any good at that point.
Okay, so this is interesting. LG have just droned out the fact that there is very light presence on the mining site, so they might actually be able to just push straight in.
Yeah, they could just go for a swift execute, make the phone calls as well.
And they're double checking. They're double checking, and this information is going to get relayed. Cocktail is a bait, and that's exactly how Space Station set themselves up to bait that top floor. Now LG, they could just push into A.
Just smoke. You hear the phone calls going out, smoke it. They're delaying far too much here. Just go for at least a fake to buy yourself time. You have 4 smokes.
Yeah, this is really interesting from Luminosity. They're running out of time.
Thinking Nade's now here to back it up, and he's got a C4.
It's a rotation from Space Station Gaming onto Luminosity's attack, as it's clear that Luminosity want to just take from red stairs straight into sight. That's what the castle barricades are for. They delay this long enough for the rotation to come out.
You've got a Zofia, though, to take those out.
This is definitely going to be an interesting tussle. A Mozzie drone goes unspotted and unheated by Luminosity. Here's the rush. Fultz gets 1. The initial vault down. Rexon, one of the big performers for his team, out of the game. Pixel gets the refrag onto Rampy. It's a rush from Fultz. He gets a great position, but he's spotted in the transition. He's doing some damage and some distraction. Phone call on him, though, will give away his position continuously. Oh, it's finally gone. Fultz with the pistol out. No reload on his primary.
He's going to go for it.
He finally gets the reload, and he's still in a tricky spot. The exothermic makes his position, though, very compromised. Doodle elsewhere going to get Bosco. That's huge. Space Station now have a man disadvantage. Fultz is going to have to be a huge playmaker for his team, as is Chala, and Chala will be. As Pixel goes down, Fultz gets another. It's a down, and oh, SSG! They take the match! It's going to be a 7-5, a very narrow attempt at a comeback from Luminosity, but the wrong strat call on the last round. Just so close to overtime, and Space Station Gaming will go against TSM in the grand finals.
What an unfortunate situation for LG. The super long delay in making their execute. Could they have waited longer to finally go in? Like I said, they could have, with Forces of Smokes, at least baited it earlier.